Ladies and gentlemen, how you doing? This is Sam Johnson, and this is the Sam Daily Show, and today we have something a little bit different. We are going to be doing a debate. That's right, a debate. But before I introduce my guest, be sure to subscribe, like, comment below. I'm sure there's going to be plenty of people who have something to say. We've got questions? Questions at the end? We do questions at the end?
Sure.
Yeah? Yeah? Questions? Questions? Questions?
Questions.
Questions. Questions. We will take questions at the very end. So, I believe that abortion is child sacrifice. And these gentlemen here are going to be here to change my mind.
Mm-hmm. That's the old Steven Crowder way, right? Except without all the crappy lying.
Yeah, I won't do any lying. Or at least I won't try.
Oh, neither will we.
Oh, okay, good.
Great. I'm glad we have that understanding.
Yeah. So, I basically stated my views on the whole deal. What do you have to say, Anarcho Josh?
Women's.
I didn't even introduce you, Anarcho Josh. This is Anarcho Josh.
Yeah, hello, beautiful people of the public in America.
And we have Anarcho Adam.
Not exactly, no.
No,
Just Adam. But
Adam isn't. I wouldn't say subscribes to anarchy ideals
I don't.
like I do.
Okay, in that case, it's just Adam.
Just Adam.
Just Adam. Okay, so you brought a plethora of notes.
Well,
Do you
some
wanna
notes.
Go ahead and throw them at me.
I mean, as far as like our position goes, I think it's obvious that like it's, women's bodies should be more important than the unborn children, and that they should, have a right to terminate pregnancies if they want to, regardless of, a whole lot of things that I think you would deem important or whatever.
Would you like me to start with that?
Sure.
So, you believe that it is the woman's right to have an abortion if they so choose.
Mm-hmm.
Let's define our terms. What is an abortion?
The termination of a pregnancy.
The termination of the termination or termination?
Termination? Cancellation? The stopping of
Yeah,
a pregnancy?
the termination.
Termination.
Can you give me a little bit more details of like what that actually entails?
Like, let's say that there's a fertilized egg or whatever. I mean, yeah, it's at any point if a woman is pregnant, it's the removal of the fetus that is growing inside of her.
So like if it's at 2 weeks or 14 weeks,
Mhm.
50, up until before it comes out of the
Well,
womb?
legally it's 22 weeks, at least in Missouri and Kansas.
And so you agree with that?
Yeah.
How far do you think that they should go to legalize it?
Right. Well, I believe we've talked about this. I don't know if it was the mock stream or the first stream that I was on, but I'm definitely like pro, like most of the time, if it's, beyond a certain point, they'll just like induce birth instead of killing the child, right? If they can induce birth and then keep that kid alive, then like that's what they do. You know what I mean? So like if the child can survive, then like they do that instead. You know what I mean?
So if a child can survive, so you've given me two different ones. Is it up until is it when the child can actually sufficiently survive outside of the womb, or is it
I believe
anytime?
so. I believe it's yeah.
No, I'm not talking about the law. I'm talking about
Oh.
what you think it should be.
Oh, well, yeah, I think it should be like if it can't survive outside of the womb, but like still like yeah. I think it should be like if the child can survive outside of the womb, then we should try to preserve that, but if it can't, if it's like the doctors decide that it wouldn't be able to survive, then yeah, just terminate the pregnancy.
So I guess my question to that is where at in the world? Because let's say in Kuwait, it's probably like 40 weeks, whereas in New York, it would be with better doctors, clearly, because we don't have socialized healthcare, and so we do have a better healthcare system and therefore better doctors, more fit, And so they could survive, I think it's at 17 weeks. So where at in the world geographically then are you deeming this to be wrong versus
I don't
right?
think it matters.
Well, if you take the stance that it depends on whether or not the child can live outside of the womb, then it depends on where are you talking
what
about?
it has access to survive.
Yes.
Right. Yeah. No, that still fits within. Doesn't matter. I still don't think it matters.
But isn't that up to the people in Kuwait to decide where it is for them versus where it is for us? We can argue about where the world should be on it, but we can also then only really impact where we are.
Yeah, what I'm saying though is that in Kuwait is that they don't have the doctors that America has.
Yeah.
And so it's like the 40 weeks is their turn. I'm
Sure.
throw that out there. I'm sure it's like something
Right.
like 30. Like Georgia, it's something like 20 something. Whereas in New York, there's better equipment and better doctors. I don't know that would be able to take care of that baby. And here, furthermore, here's my thing on all of that is that there is no such thing as a baby that can survive outside of a womb. The moment that a baby comes out and like it can't survive, it'll walk like it just won't.
On
It
its
has
own,
to
you
be
mean.
taken
It has
care
to be
of.
fed. It has to
Right.
be.
And if so, the doctors have the capability to do that or whatever. Then they, do that.
Okay.
You know what I mean? Okay, so hold on. Let me think here for a second about that. Sam.
Because I would say to Adam is that legally yes is that well, I would like there not to be any abortion period.
Okay.
But in Kuwait, then yes, that makes sense. Is that their
So then
government?
they should probably have different laws than we do if they have different access to healthcare.
Well, I would actually argue that that it would be more. Well, I don't want to dive into laws overseeing the world. Like what are those laws? The what?
Geneva Convention?
Yes, Geneva. Yes, yeah. I'm
I
sorry
mean,
for
you-
people who are watching too, because like I'm I'm switching back and forth, and I'll look over and I'll be like, I've been talking for the last 30 seconds. Maybe you should take over. So go ahead.
Well, I mean, you brought up the idea that Kuwait has different access to medical care, so then a blanket abortion ruling doesn't apply the same to different countries. I agree with you. They should make different rules if that is not equally applicable to them.
Yeah, but see, that's a political argument. If we go down that, then that's going to be like a whole. But
So
after the show, we
For sure.
Yeah.
So your goal is to lower abortion rates, right?
no. My goal would be that abortion there would be none.
Okay.
Is that there shouldn't be, because I believe that abortion is wrong. Not is it only wrong, but it is
Okay.
child sacrifice.
So it's a zero-sum game. There are either no abortions and that's good, or there exist abortions still and that's bad.
Well, here's the thing is that I don't necessarily believe in a utopia. So like there is no
Okay.
way that there is ever going to be
Sure.
there's never going to be zero abortions.
Right. Just
There's
like there's never going to be zero murders.
yeah,
Exactly.
yes.
So
yeah.
what is a realistic goal then? Lowering that number?
The realistic goal would be that we would overturn Roe v. Wade in America, and then we would start to acknowledge that,
Make abortion illegal is essentially what you're getting at.
yeah, 100%, yeah.
And then what does that do to the society? Does that make any impact, is my point. Does that just lower abortion rates and therefore less bad in the world? What does that do, overturning Roe versus Wade?
Well, I think that because we have what you're asking is like, do laws actually prohibit anything from happening?
That's where I'm getting to, yeah.
And so I would say 100%. Yeah, I would say that there is less people. And yes, who was it? James Madison, who said that there must be to some extent there must be a government, because men are not angels, is
Okay.
that there are men who do not abide and follow by the word, that being scripture. And therefore, those who do not follow or are under the law of God, they must be under the law of government. And so that's kind of his, that's that quote, like wrapped up,
Okay.
I think. So
the abolition with a law prevents a population from committing a crime?
100%.
That's really interesting. How do you feel about gun control?
We're here to discuss abortion, or else
I know.
roll into gun.
Uh-huh.
Unless you have a point, like
Oh, he does.
The abolition of gun control or the abolition of easily owning guns would be the same argument that abolishing abortion would be.
what do you mean by that? Say that again.
So if you outlaw abortion to prohibit people from committing abortions, you could follow that same logic to say outlawing guns will prevent people from shooting each other without access to guns. But we both know that that doesn't work. I agree about guns. The outlawing of guns will not solve gun crimes, nor will the outlawing of abortion solve abortions.
Yeah, I know, and that's why I think that there should be some greater penalty than a fine.
Okay, like what?
Like what?
Jail time?
Jail time.
Death?
Death.
You know,
I'm asking.
where's the line?
Where is the line? What is the right punishment for an abortion?
For somebody who has an abortion? Let me see here. I don't know. I guess I haven't really thought that deeply about it.
But something bad enough to keep other people from doing it, right? I mean, is that the goal?
Yeah, I would think so, because abortion is the disposal of life.
Mm-hmm.
Then maybe we should potentially have the electric chair for those who do decide to have an abortion, right? Because that is attempted murder. Yeah. You're smiling.
I disagree, but yeah, that seems insane to me. The electric chair
Yeah.
for having an abortion.
Yeah, well,
A life for a life?
a life for a life, maybe.
That seems a little
I'm-
fucked up, man.
Yeah, I'm kind of traveling down. Well, do you believe in an eye for an eye?
I'm not literally taking a life for a life, no.
In a human behavioral biology video that I watched, that was like some college professor talking.
Can you get a
about
little bit closer to that microphone?
He talked about tit for tat and the game theory or whatever, and how tit for tat and eye for an eye will always inevitably, if there is ever one communication error where the person thinks that the other person has wronged them when they didn't, then that will just go back and forth forever, and they'll just constantly lose.
Okay, yeah. So I'm not necessarily saying yes, 100%. Like in we're gonna go ahead and murder electric
Sure.
chair.
Right.
Like, I do believe in this thing called forgiveness.
Okay.
So I'm being hyperbolic here in this. We got the lights,
Okay.
we've got the cameras, and so I'm
Definitely.
going to naturally take a
Right.
little bit more of an approach. But
Okay.
I guess what this dials down to is like what we're trying to. The question is that why is it? Do you believe? And I'll ask both of you guys this individually: do you believe that abortion is good?
I would bring the philosophical argument of there's blessings and curses in almost everything.
No, but this is so much like it's just is it good?
Right. Well, again, I think you're pigeonholing bad and good. I think it's bad that
Like if there's anything that is black and white, wouldn't this be that?
No.
no,
No.
no,
No. No.
no, because
No.
we're talking about, like, even if, like, you know, I agree, which I don't, that a human fetus is a person and is as much of a life as a full-grown person, right? That's still a person that is forcefully dependent upon another person, which is the woman. When the woman you're forcing her to be dependent, or to have this child be dependent on her and whatever. Like, it's completely, like, this is not a black and white, good and bad, because it's not just like it's killing people wrong, because we're talking about the bodily autonomy of women.
So I guess we could have like skipped a lot of if I would have just worded this correctly, but pardon me, this is my first
Please.
change my mind. But is the question that we were trying to dial in was, when do you believe that a baby becomes a baby? As in, when does a fetus become a baby? Because you would put the terms in as a baby that we would not.
Honestly,
we would not have an abortion, right? You would say that a baby we don't abort and should not abort, but a fetus we should, right? That would be,
again, depending upon the circumstances of where this baby is born and what technology is available, and blah 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 blah. Like we discussed before, I don't think it matters. I really don't think it matters.
I know, but I'm just trying to get the terms here. Is that there'd be a fetus and there's a baby.
Yeah, but that's just no. Yeah, I understand where you're.
You follow
coming
what I'm
from.
saying? Is like I'm trying to understand your argument here.
And
is
what
that
I'm saying
should
is that
fetuses
it
get
does
aborted?
not matter where the line is drawn between baby and fetus, because we're talking about bodily autonomy and how the woman is forcefully having to sacrifice her body to keep another person alive.
Okay, so let me word it differently. Is that when does that fetus? I'm going to use
Right.
terms that may. Is that when does that become not a part of her body?
When it isn't physically attached to it.
As in, like, umbilical cord
Right.
cut.
Right. And it's out of there.
Adam?
I agree with that. I think once the baby is no longer attached to a mother, it changes what it is. But I think you could argue that abortion, it could technically be murder before it's born. But I agree with Josh that the more important aspect of that is not whether or not you are murdering or killing whatever that is. It's the autonomy of the woman's body and that she is being forced to do something differently by law.
So, wait, you kind of threw in a little bit of mix in there whenever you
Okay.
say that she was being forced. So, by law. So,
Yeah.
what you're saying is that she's forced to have sex?
No, forced to carry the baby.
Okay, but you have to have sex to have a baby.
Sure.
Sorry for all the young viewers out there that haven't had the birds and bees talk, but you have to have sex to get the baby. So
Sure.
why is it that we don't choose the option of not sex instead of, hey,
That is a great question.
yeah?
Do you genuinely think most people who get abortions are genuinely educated on sex?
Yeah. As in,
Really?
like, to the extent of, like, having sex equals baby. I think that is enough education to know that it's like, do you think that people are educated enough to know about, let's say, I don't know, gang violence, and that they'll go to a trap house, and then
Okay.
they walk in there, and then they're confronted, right?
So a man walks into a trap house, should expect to die. A woman has sex, should expect to get pregnant. Is that what you're saying? Okay.
Yes.
So in this analogy, the man going to the trap house, if we give him an alternative to going to the trap house, or say we give him the option of wearing a bulletproof vest to the trap house, he can then maybe not die from that.
Yeah. I
So-
think you're walking down the path of there are other options, right? Of you can wear a condom.
Exactly.
You could birth control,
Exactly.
which I'm entirely against. We won't go down that yet. Or there could be just not have sex, right? Not walk into the trap house.
Okay.
And then the fourth one would be, I don't know. Go ahead.
So people going to trap houses will continue to go to trap houses is the continuation of that analogy. People will always be having sex. You will never stop that, genuinely.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's, yes.
Right.
Fair.
So giving people bulletproof vests seems like a way better alternative than just saying, yeah, but he's going to die. Whatever. If giving him the bulletproof vest keeps him from dying when he will inevitably go to the trap house, that seems like a way better alternative than just throwing our hands up and letting people die.
So-
Teaching people about birth control, about safe sex, will lower abortion rates, therefore creating less abortions.
So you're saying that people aren't educated enough to know that sex equals baby.
I'm saying they're not educated enough to know that there's ways to have sex without having a baby. And if they're going to have sex anyway, we might as well tell them that there's a way to do it without getting a kid out of it and then aborting that kid.
Who do you think that, and we might be going down a way other direction, is that who do you think that should be educating these people?
Oh, yeah, the state.
The state.
Yes.
So
In
the
schools.
politicians.
No, in schools. Politicians just get to decide on the legislation for how that works out, not doing the teaching themselves.
I'm really tempted to go down this this path into public education because, Josh, you know exactly how I feel about public education.
Yes, I know. You want to privatize all schools and...
Could you get a little bit closer to the microphone?
Sorry. You want to privatize all schools, right? And make...
Well,
and, you know, completely get rid of public schools entirely.
I wish we had a mediator here.
Am I wrong though? Is that not your position?
No, that's my position. But I'm just thinking about how the name of this is that we're discussing abortion and we're starting to like.
I think it's relevant.
But
though.
I think sexual education is absolutely relevant to abortion because, like Adam said, and like I had in my notes last time I was here on last Thursday, that like teaching. Even I'm not against teaching them abstinence. I am pro teaching them abstinence and also sexual education about birth control and condoms and how STDs are spread and whatever, and that lowers abortion or teen pregnancies at least, which definitely I'm sure there's
directly
plenty of
correlates to
definitely
abortion
yeah. So it's relevant at least, you know.
Okay.
The greatest predictor of abortion rates are income and sexual education. Not of the legality of abortions, mind you.
So, what's wrong with giving out condoms instead of legalizing abortion?
I feel like you're pigeonholing there.
We don't have to do one or the other.
Right. Why don't
We can have legal abortions so that the people who get them do it safely, while also teaching sex education to lower the overall number of unwanted pregnancies, which would lower the abortion rate as well.
Well, you have a problem with that because there's a massive portion of the United States that sees this as child sacrifice, right?
Sure.
So we can't just write that off. All right?
I can.
You can't?
I mean, that's a fundamental disagreement on how the fabric of our world works. I would argue most people believe it's murder because they believe it's a soul that's being murdered. I don't believe that. It's inconsequential to me.
So do you believe that... So do you think that abortions should be... this is a question. And it's going to take us off in another direction.
That's
but
fine.
Whatever. Like, do you believe that abortions should be free?
I do.
Yes.
Yeah.
Healthcare. I think all healthcare should be free.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so who do you... have you heard the saying that there's no such thing as a free lunch?
Heard it, sure.
We pay for the roads. We pay for the schools. We pay for all sorts of stuff already with our taxes. Is that what you're talking about? The taxes?
You
The free
did. You
lunch?
said it. You said it right there. Is that we pay for those? So whenever it says you say
Free
that-
access, I should say.
Free
if
access.
we want to clarify, there should be free access to healthcare.
So you guys big supporters of Margaret Sanger?
I don't know who
Unfamiliar
that
with that one?
is. No.
Okay, Margaret Sanger was the mother of Planned Parenthood,
Okay.
right?
Great.
Is that she believed that they should have Planned Parenthoods and drop them in all of these urban neighborhoods.
Okay.
Do you know why she wanted to do that?
Not particularly.
Margaret Sanger was a racist. I want to say another word.
Mm-hmm.
I'm afraid people are watching that. I care dearly for, like, my mother. I can't say the word
Yeah.
B.
Yeah.
I can't do that.
Yeah.
So, I don't know why I bring that up other than, like...
So how did she racistly Planned Parenthoods? I'm curious.
So she well, you know what? I meant to say is that, you know how, Josh, we said that there was going to be another person that I would be debating y'all with?
Mm-hmm.
I decided that because last Thursday, that I kind of teamed up on you, is that it would just be me.
Right.
But then I also considered, hey, maybe I have the computer right here. I could dive into it every now and then.
Oh, you can look up some.
Okay.
Or I could just reach into the comments right here where there's a whole group of people that are speaking about how bad I am at debating.
Oh, oh! I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mild degree. I think you're holding your own, Sam. Honestly, at least to a mi
Anyway.
I'm having fun, and that's what's important.
Yeah, that's what's important.
I'm having fun. Thanks for having me, by the way.
Yeah, thanks for showing up.
Yeah.
Since no one else did, because no one cares about the Thursday fun streams with the anarcho-communist.
No, I think.
Yeah, I'm putting the Discord team on blast. I don't care.
Okay, so you both believe that abortions should be. Do you believe that as many abortions as you possibly can, or is that? So if you believe that abortions are not wrong, then having hundreds of them is a-okay. Yeah.
I never said I think they are not 100% wrong. I think that there could be cases where abortions are probably not entirely ethical to do.
What are those?
That's a good question. I would have to
I
think
don't
about
know.
that a little bit more,
Yeah.
if I'm being honest.
I don't know
with
about
you.
that one. Yeah, that's gonna have
No,
to
this
take
is
some
good.
time.
This is.
But also, I'd like to.
When is it okay? When is it not okay? When do you believe that it's not okay to have an abortion?
I would.
You can
I
take
guess
a
I would.
second.
I would say that I don't think that there's not good arguments to be made about it being morally gray and or bad, but I think that there is already a moral obligation to a woman's body that is more important than that.
That's definitely also completely trying to be glossed over by people who are pushing anti-abortion laws, like Josh Hawley.
You're gonna have to explain that again. I don't understand it.
I think that science has not progressed to the point where we entirely know what fetuses experience. So I think that there's fair arguments to be made that it is possibly a little bit morally reprehensible to terminate that pregnancy. However, we definitely know that it is morally reprehensible to force people to do things with their body that they do not want to do.
So we're back to that again. And
Yeah.
I just don't understand how you believe that people are not. That they're. I'll just say it. That they're so stupid that they don't understand sex. Is it that sex equals child, right?
Can. Does not always. That is not a one-to-one equation. I have had sex many times, never had a kid.
So of the 60 million women who had abortions since Roe v. Wade, of those people, how many of them do you think that didn't understand that sex equals baby?
It's not that they didn't understand sex equals baby. It's that they probably, at least some of them, didn't understand that there is a way that sex can equate not having a baby. They're rolling the dice either way, right? If somebody's going to have sex, yeah, pretty much everybody will know that that can equal a baby. The amount to which it could equal a baby, that's what I'm talking about.
So
what's the percentage chance that you have sex and a baby happens?
Me?
Anybody.
Right now, 0% because I'm celibate.
Okay. So, for you, in your individual case, that might work.
Well,
teaching abstinence only does
so
not...
you're telling me that only in my case right now that would work for everybody?
If they did, but they won't.
Why wouldn't they?
Why wouldn't they not have sex?
Because they are not.
Kind of cool.
Your argument on that is that it's they're not. Wait, what?
My point is, you will never stop people from having sex.
It's biologically built into us to have sex.
You might not have sex right now. Have you ever had sex?
Again, my
Personal
mother's
question.
wife, but yes.
Okay. Do you have a baby?
No.
So sex didn't equal baby.
But sex can equal baby.
Right.
Yes.
So how did sex not equal a baby for you?
Oh my goodness.
I'm really curious how you managed to get away with having sex and not having a baby.
Well, I didn't actually don't have balls, and this is a really touchy topic for me.
I don't believe you.
Oh, anyway, I think what Adam's trying to do is play the ignorant person who doesn't understand that sex and baby is a one-to-one or whatever, or isn't a one-to-one. You know what I mean? So he's playing the character of
I'm
like
playing you right now.
Yeah, who
You keep saying sex equals baby.
Yes.
But you've had sex and don't have baby. So sex does not always equal baby. You must have had some insight on how sex can be performed without the outcome of a child. If only we all had such enlightened brains, then maybe we wouldn't have as many abortions.
So why I'm okay. Let me shift. Do you want to have abortions go up or down?
Down.
Down.
Yes, abortions aren't fun, and I think
Yeah.
99% of people who have abortions would agree.
And why are they not fun?
Because of the moral implications of what it causes. Of course it's not fun. You have an emotional attachment to something that's growing inside of you. Of course they're not fun.
Or the
Of course
physical
they're-
toll it takes on a woman's body to perform an abortion.
Right. All sorts of things. All sorts of things of why they're not fun. But also, risk they're willing to take to also not have a kid that they don't want to have. Because that's also not fun.
I kind of want to jump to the chat because we've got a lot of people who are watching. If there is a mediator out there that could handle a little bit better of directing, throw out a question. I'm looking at the computer screen, but I mean to look at the camera. Is that throw out a question that we can travel down somewhere. I probably should have thought that through, is to actually have somebody that would be a mediator,
It's
because
all
we
right.
jump all
It's
over
okay.
the place.
We got all the time in the world, Sam.
I got nowhere to be.
Okay, so what?
We can just do it next week or whatever.
No, it's fine. No, it's fine. I guess what? So you believe that a baby becomes we kind of have to split this up. Is that it's either wrong or it's either right, or you believe it should be legal or illegal, right? So we can have the lawful argument or we can have the moralistic argument. And
Which one would you like to go down?
I don't really like the moralistic side of things. I would rather, I don't know. I don't freaking know. I'm
Because, okay, if we go to, I don't know, the basic arguments usually for abortion, especially coming from a cis, straight, white, male, whatever, like we are in our privileged positions, or, is the bodily autonomy argument and is the fetus a person argument, right? And then we can have the violinist, and what was it? The violinist argument, where it's like there's a famous violinist who has kidney issues and then the person is attached to them, right? And then to keep them alive, and should they be forced to be attached to the violinist because all lives matter or whatever, even if it's outside of, even if it's you're dependent upon this life is dependent upon you, so it's your responsibility regardless of the situations to support that life. That's the way I kind of see your position, and I don't like it. It's like you're forcing someone to keep someone else alive when they don't want to. You know what I mean?
okay. So right there, you just said that we're forcing someone to keep someone else alive.
Right.
That's not really consistent with what we were saying before.
Well, because we don't believe that fetuses are people.
You don't
right?
believe that there's someone.
But even if we concede that point, there's still that argument of you're forcing someone to keep someone else alive. And I don't think that's right, because bodily autonomy matters. And that's why we keep harping on it, because that's the whole point.
So you don't believe that a baby has any value until after the womb?
Less value than the right of a woman to govern her own body? Yes.
What Adam said.
That I don't know what to say back to that, because it's
Maybe
so then
we've
why
changed your mind?
so then do you think do you believe that we no I haven't changed my mind, is that
Okay.
so do
Just checking. Sorry.
no, so at that point, so if they don't have any value as a baby,
Not no value.
Okay.
Just
Just
less value.
less value.
Mhm.
So what value is there of a baby?
Sure, it could turn into a great person one day. Possibly.
No,
Might turn into
I mean in the state that it's in.
Yeah, I mean that's its value, right? I don't know what other intrinsic
It's-
value a fetus would have besides the potential to maybe become somebody
it's
one
just
day.
potential
Yeah.
value.
I'm just saying. I'm just trying to think of like the slippery side of this is that if you believe that, and I'm trying to take on your, if you believe that a baby does not or has less value, then what will people do with that? And the only thing I can think of is that they're going to chop them up and then use the stem cells to make people look pretty, right?
Do we have any evidence of fetus stem cells being used to make people pretty? Because I think most stem cells, when they do get used, which that's not a great analogy of taking stem cells from a fetus. They can research stem cells from fetuses, but they don't take them for surgeries in other places. But stem cells are usually used for like joint repair and actual life-saving.
You don't
procedures.
watch Ellen?
I don't watch Ellen, no.
On Ellen, there's a gal that came on, and then she was like, "Well, I use this face-enhancing cream." And Ellen goes like, "Well, what's in the face-enhancing cream?" And they're pretty much like
stem cells.
Yeah,
stem cells. Okay,
yeah. So,
but stem cells are not really like extracted from fetuses. They're studied from fetuses. But stem cells that are used in actual procedures, I believe that there is a different way those are acquired.
I'm gonna take to the comments because I'm like, I'm having like a difficult time switching.
I
thinking.
Understand.
Okay.
Can I get your perspective on why you think it's sacrifice specifically? Because you think it's human sacrifice, like satanic, like doing ritual kind of sacrifice. Am I wrong?
I wouldn't say it's like ritualistic or anything like that, but it is essentially a woman is sacrificing the child so that she can, whether it be
for the sake of convenience.
For the sake of convenience,
right? Okay.
Yes. Not just convenience, but if you get pregnant and you're working, is that then you don't get to work, and so then how are you going to get that raise to become a partner in the law firm and so on?
Or afford rent. Just saying.
And my thing is don't have sex or put a condom on.
I agree about the putting condom on thing.
Mm-hmm.
More people should know to put a condom on.
But also, you can take to the comments if you want to, Sam, and see what the comments have to say.
Yeah, because it's going wild.
Or if there's any questions or whatever. What time are we at?
We are at 7:42, so we're about 35 minutes in.
Oh, okay.
But the comments here, let's go through them. Is let's go sheepy boys. Sam wins the debate easy. Sam, you can you still need to upload and stuff, or did someone?
Hey Sam, can I talk to you about work real quick? Hey Sam, you forgot to
need that memo by 5, Sam.
We got Cunny. I don't know what that means. What does that mean? Anybody?
Cunny?
Yeah.
How's it spelled?
I don't know. Sam, let's get to the actual beefy questions. How do you feel about the 80% win rate Harlequins have had with the new Codex drop? Okay. That's
relevant. Thank you.
Thanks,
Chatter.
Oh, yeah. They love the internet.
How is killing babies and gun control in the same argument? One murders a human life and the other is a metal object.
I mean, the abolition by law of a act or the ownership of something. Outlawing guns doesn't stop gun violence. I think we're all pretty well aware of that. I know that might be a more conservative take, but
and outlawing abortions only makes abortions more dangerous. And
exactly.
That doesn't necessarily mean that people are going to have less abortions.
Outlawing guns to stop violent crime will not work.
Right.
Just like outlawing abortions to stop abortions will also not work. That's my comparison.
When a fetus can survive on its own outside her womb. Somebody is answering questions that I'm asking. Courtway, not even a 2-year-old can survive by itself outside the womb. Fair point. It can breathe without being physically attached to a woman. Okay.
I love our comment section. Do you want me to read off some fun facts while you find some good ones?
No, I really don't.
Oh, okay. All right. Well.
Charter and private schools have outperformed public schools in every aspect. Why is Sam so bad at debating?
I'm sorry. Can I make a note on that private versus public school thing? If we're taking standardized test scores, right? and how they've outperformed.
No, you can't.
Oh, okay.
Felicity, you couldn't survive underwater for more than 2 minutes. Why should your life be any more important than a baby?
I don't understand. Wait. If you're... I don't understand. But it's all right. Can't expect the comment section to really take it home on heavy hitters. We're not popular enough yet to have a roaring crowd with a...
I just like how there's an argument, like there's a
positions.
debate going on in the debate chat.
Yeah.
That's nice.
Yeah,
This
between
is internet
Felicity
blood sport.
and
This is what it's
Colin.
all about.
Is that it can survive till it's out of the shell. It has to suck up the nutrient sac and make sure it's developed. So if not out of a shell, it's a clump of cells. I mean, you eat eggs, right?
Yeah, Sam, do you eat eggs?
Love eggs.
I love eggs. No, that's not the same. That's not a good comparison. I don't understand what half the comments saying. They're all really weird analogies where it's like, yeah, but you eat eggs and it's just a clump of cells. And it's like, no, but it's not fertilized. But also, like, fertilization.
Sometimes it is. You ever
That's-
cracked open
sometimes
an
it
egg?
is. Yeah, and there's
a little chicken in there?
Yeah.
I kind of feel bad for the viewers because I didn't account for that. Like I thought I could just
Well, a lot of this is last minute.
yeah.
So, like, cut us a break, guys, you know. I mean, so, like, I feel bad for the viewers, sure, whatever. But,
Well, and then I'm also making an excuse, and I don't like making excuses.
mm-hmm.
You know, like I can't afford rent, and I got this
So-
baby,
So I got it. Yeah. Uh-huh.
so I gotta have an abortion.
Uh-huh.
Right?
Classic excuses for life, you know.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
can't afford to
Definitely not real
live, so I
problems.
definitely shouldn't. Yeah. Just an excuse.
Fuck those people, right?
Yeah.
Fuck poor people. Can't afford to live.
Mhm.
Screw you, man. Go die.
No, just don't have sex,
Oh, shit. Forgot.
or wear a condom. You
Yeah.
are really. Here's my thing with that is that I think that
Yeah.
you're really you're belittling a lot of people by saying that. Is by saying that they're not educated enough to know that condom stops pregnancy.
I mean, they're children most of the time, so yeah, I am belittling them.
Well, yeah, because they're children.
Most of those
So you-
unwanted pregnancies happen between 15 and 19.
Sources.
I looked them up before I came. I'm sure I could pull them up again.
Happy to send them to you.
Say that again.
Most of those abortions happen between 15 and 19. Those children do not know that condom can equal no baby, or that they can take a pill that means no baby. or
Wait,
get
one
an
more time.
IUD.
What age?
15 to
15
19.
and 19. So 15-year-olds to 19-year-olds. So would you say that public education is failing them?
Yes.
Oh, I would say that even if we weren't talking about abortion.
If we take Arkansas as a case, they have some of the highest abortion rates in the country and some of the worst sex education in the country. And the states with higher education rates in sex education have the lowest abortion rates of any states.
So you think those correlate?
Well, they do correlate, yes. As well as income correlates to abortions as well.
That there are more poor people who have abortions.
Poor people are more likely to have unwanted pregnancies and then abortions. Sorry to cut you off.
No, it's fine. Bottom line is at conception, a child has its own unique DNA. Legally, killing a pregnant woman is double homicide. You can't say clump of cells because every living thing is. And so I think what he's doing is he's making the argument that is in regards to
The double homicide thing?
yeah,
Yeah.
in law.
Right.
So I guess there's a good question: is that do you believe that
Where's
it should
the
be double homicide?
Well, I would say yes because
Can you get a little bit closer to the microphone?
sorry, I keep moving this thing because it's like really up in my face. I would say yes for sure.
So it should still be double homicide.
yeah.
If it,
Yeah, because again, there's also the potential whatever of that life, and if the mother wanted to have that child and that was taken away from her, you know, I think that
Adam,
should be
do you see
double
the
homicide.
inconsistency in that?
I'm aware of the contradiction that you think is there.
No, it is there.
Mm.
I can see it both ways. I see the argument that if the mother wants the baby, it's whose decision is it for that pregnancy to be terminated? If a mother is choosing to do it, I'm saying that's her right to do. A man shooting that woman doesn't have the right to decide for her. I would say that's more consistent.
So it depends on the woman's motives towards the baby. If the woman wanted to have an abortion and she was walking down the street and she got shot by some dude, then...
How would we know she's dead?
What?
If she got shot by some dude and it killed both of them, how would we know she's dead?
Yeah, that's a good question. Sarah Johnson. Not your uterus, not your opinion. I said what I said. Everyone should be able to do what they want with their bodies. And then somebody says, thank you, Sarah. So we are back to the
Bodily autonomy argument.
bodily autonomy. Yes.
Versus the, pro-state forced pregnancy, birth. You know what I mean?
Electric chair.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And then, forcing people to have these kids, but then not supporting them at all. It's not really pro-life, I don't think. I think that's more just pro-birth, pro-state forced pregnancy.
And Kong says that it's not your body, it's yours and the child. And so I would hold the same position in that.
No.
Is that they're two separate. It is the baby and then the woman. I'm guessing you guys don't hold that.
That the baby has a right to the body of the woman? No, I don't think a person should have a right to the body of someone else.
I think he's saying that the baby is its own body, but I disagree with that. I don't think the baby is its own body
Well,
yet.
it started off with saying it's not just the woman's body, it's the baby's body as well, right? I mean,
Yeah, there's two
what I'm
ways to
saying is that
interpret that.
there's two different. I mean, again, we could go down the legal or the illegal and the lawful. Is that at what point does a baby? I mean, the moralistic side of things. And let me talk through this here for a second. Is that the moralistic thing is that we could go down that it is abortions are wrong, as opposed they're bad, as opposed to good. And then you also have the legalistic side of things. Is that you go down that and say that. Or moralistic, that the baby has value, is that, or you could go down the other aisle and say that there are rights that extend to the baby in the womb. And so I would take the position that, I mean, let's go through that. Let's do the legal route. Is that I believe that the rights of a human start as the moment that there is a egg that is fertilized.
No, well, then...
Well, don't just get to say no.
Well,
like,
let
give
me.
more than just no.
Did you know that a third of all fertilized eggs die within a week of the time that they're fertilized?
So I should have no problem with saying that.
I'm just saying that's not the correct line to draw. That's all. Is that it's if you're going by the logic of inseminated eggs, then there's plenty of eggs, and then there's plenty of quote unquote people that your body naturally just kills, like a third of.
So
Up to
express
2/3.
Express to me when Adam, when you believe that a baby has rights.
When a baby has rights, like the right specifically to live, or just rights in general.
And I would preface the question by saying, when does a baby acquire? We've already discussed the value side of things, but yes, when is it? Is it equal to when they become valued, as they do?
I'm still not sure on your question. What's the rights in general, or specifically the right to live?
Yeah, I'm talking about the rights of American citizen, to the point where, if they, like I say, that at the moment that it's fertilized, is that you go in there and rip it out, then
Okay. I mean, I would say it's probably a sliding scale of acquiring rights as it becomes older, right? Like we were saying, if somebody came up and murdered a woman with a baby in her body, I would say it probably has enough rights that would be a double murder, but I also don't think it has every inalienable right that the rest of us have either. I think fully having all of your rights would be at birth.
So you don't believe that rights are black and white?
I think yes, if I'm understanding you correctly.
Like, I'm talking about individual sovereignty, as you are an American citizen now.
Yeah, I don't think
when is that?
I don't think the baby has it if it impedes on the mother's own rights as well. Because this isn't just the baby's rights, it's also the mother's rights. So I think the baby's rights does not overwrite the mother's rights.
Sorry to cut you off.
No, you're fine.
is that earlier you did say that the woman's rights over what was the word you used?
Supersede or override?
Supersede the rights of the
Sure.
child.
Yeah.
And so, do you really want to live in a society where that's the case? Is that the adult has? I mean, what happened? I guess what happened to the purpose of government is to protect the people, and when it comes
Sure.
down to the people, is that the men go to fight, the women are protected, and the children. And the children, we are trying to protect the children, right?
Part of that, yes. Trying to protect the children, I can agree with that. I don't think the idea of men being breadwinners and women being household caretakers applies anymore. I think that's pretty outdated, to be honest. But sure, yeah, I mean, we all would like to protect the young of our society.
It's difficult. I keep looking over at the chats, and then that changes the direction of whatever. Is that Kong says that he has a fundamental misunderstanding of rights. Abortion inflicts that child's God-given rights. Okay. And so that, I guess, would make... I would be clarifying my argument by saying that we all have a God-given right to life. Liberty, pursuit of happiness. I'm not going to go down that. But do you believe that we all have the God-given right to life?
Under certain circumstances.
What are those?
Yes. Specifically abortion. I think your rights stop where they impede on another person's rights.
So the whole libertarian thing where my fist ends and your face begins or something. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think I do.
You know the libertarian position better than I do.
No, I don't know what you're saying. Sorry. I know. What is this about punching faces and where my fist stops and your face begins? Or
Yeah,
whatever?
yeah, that's it. Where your my fist. So, this was really tough.
It's like, I know, dog.
I
didn't wanna gang up on you.
wish it's no, it's not.
Okay.
It's I'm fine. I just wish I had like a third camera that could just like span out on everything. But and we could potentially do that. But so in the instance of abortion, is that do you believe that the God-given right of that child is null and void?
Because it supersedes the right of the woman to
Yeah, I'd have to
decide
agree with
what
that.
her body does.
Yeah.
Yes.
See, that's a big, and we keep going back to this, is when it becomes
Right.
a life. What could you explain to me why that is, that you believe that a child becomes like, what's the science behind that this is when it becomes valuable or more valuable? And then taking the argument too is that if it's lesser than, then I guess the question would be to follow that is, when does the baby's value equate to the mother's?
When it stops relying on superseding her own rights. So once that child is born, she now has the obligation to care for it and to keep it alive.
So at 18, then
Well,
it has
even
equal
then,
value to the mother.
Still put it up for adoption.
No, I would
but
say it
that's
has
a tricky
equal value
process.
once it's born. Because a mother cannot kill its child once it's born. It can't let it starve to death because she doesn't want to feed it. It no longer has the ability, or she no longer has the ability for her rights to supersede it. She
So-
would be put in jail for that.
Okay,
right?
so let me get this. Is that so? A baby's life equates to the woman as soon as it leaves the womb.
Yeah.
Okay, why?
Because now it is no longer physically and nutritionally attached to the woman.
But the thing is it is. Is
Not
that
to
if it's
her bodily autonomy, though.
okay?
Sorry, continue.
So what I see is like a big cyst on somebody's arm.
Yeah, kind of.
So you would see that a baby is same equates to a cyst on an arm.
Not quite the same, but in terms of removing it from your body, yes.
I gotta either stop looking at the chat or get to the point where I am just easily able to switch and not even think about it. Say the last thing that you just said.
I'm trying to remember the question you asked me.
Basically, I was asking is that then the baby it equates value to a woman the moment that it comes out of the womb. You say that it equates to the woman because the baby is no longer dependent upon the mother. And I use the word dependent, but the more accurate, precise wording that you said is that it is no longer nutritionally attached to the woman. Is that the baby doesn't need the one, but that is dependency. And so my argument there would be that what you're defining is dependency. Is that when the baby is no longer dependent upon that woman, that's whenever it equates the value of that woman.
Okay, I understand now. I would say it is when it changes from the specificity of how much it relies on the woman. When it is in her womb, it is 100% reliant on only her. Outside of that womb, that child can technically be cared for by most any of this human race, changing its value and changing its rights.
Ooh. Sorry. Yeah. Good job, Adam. I think.
Say that again.
So, the baby in the womb is solely reliant on its mother as its sole source of everything.
And
nutrients.
I would say, sorry, go ahead.
No, go for it.
Well, I would just say that in that right there is that
Yeah.
that also applies outside of the womb,
Okay.
equally as much inside of the womb.
Not necessarily.
So, but I totally disagree because that child could be given up for adoption instantaneously.
And then
after its birth.
the parent, the foster parent would be, that baby would be dependent upon them.
Right. But that's a entirely different idea
I know, but where you draw the line in the sand is whether or not they're dependent.
on specific people is what I'm drawing the line in. If the baby is only reliant on one person, then that person's rights can be infringed upon for that baby to continue to live. If that person gives up their right to raise that child after it's born, somebody else will take care of that child, whether it be the state or a relative or someone else.
So you're giving me the how, but not
Okay.
the why.
Why is that different?
Yeah, like why is it that so you're saying that because it's got on the umbilical cord,
Okay.
and then the umbilical cord is cut at that moment.
Mm-hmm.
That's when it becomes value equated to the mother.
Yes, because then it no longer has the capability of completely infringing on that woman's rights to her own body. You cannot force a woman to raise a child. That would be the same in my mind. If you had a baby and you decided you wanted to put that up for adoption and the state came and said, no, you have to raise this baby. And if it dies, you will go to prison.
Well, I think that there's other options of adoption.
Right. I agree.
So
which changes. But there's
yes.
not other options when they're pregnant. If
so
you could
that's
take
an
the
option
baby
right
out
there is
and
that
put it into
you
something
do not
else.
have the abortion. But your problem isn't necessarily with the fact that they now have a baby on their hands. You're more up in arms, or that the fact that they have to carry it for 9 months, right?
Against their will. Correct. That is my problem.
Against their will, but
Yeah.
they willfully put themselves in that position.
We can go back to this, but I will again
And your
say
argument is between the ignorance versus the...
it is a very, very clear correlation that there are multiple predictors for abortion rates. And if we really cared about lowering the amount of aborted babies, we would focus on the things we know to lower those rates, and not the things we know don't lower those rates. Outlawing abortion does not lower abortion rates. It increases abortion deaths, but it does not significantly decrease abortion rates. So why would we care to do that?
Not nearly as much as sex education and all that.
So my proposed is that we educate people on sex. And speaking of that, my position is that I don't know.
Okay.
Did we change your mind?
No, you didn't change my mind.
Dang it, dude.
I'm stewing it over. No, you didn't change my mind, because I will always believe that unless something comes down and freaking, but I'll always believe that a baby has value.
I don't believe
More value.
your mind could be changed on this.
Why is
Yeah,
that?
I don't think so either.
Because I think you intrinsically disagree with us about what a baby is. Do you think a baby has a soul? We'll start there.
Now we're going down the religious path.
Sure, but I think this is pretty intrinsical to your position on this.
Yeah.
Yeah, maybe that's why the legal and the rights. I don't. Yes, I believe that a baby does have a soul.
Right. So everything that ends that life is murder to you.
Yes.
But it's not to me, because I don't believe souls exist. So you and me will never, ever see eye to eye on this unless one of us changes our minds on that foundational point.
So what do you believe has souls then? So you don't believe in a soul at all?
No.
You don't believe in a spirit?
No.
Well, he
I
doesn't.
don't. I'm not talking for
yeah.
Josh. I'm talking only for me.
Yeah.
I don't.
So you believe that animals are equal to humans?
In intelligence, no. In intrinsic worth,
We're the only things that
Sure,
really
actually.
care about worth. Yeah. Yeah. I kind of see where he's coming from.
I don't know what intrinsic worth I have over anything else on this world. I think I have more intelligence than most things in this world. And I think that's an interesting fact about humans. Allows us to do a lot. I don't know if that makes us more worth.
Now,
If anything, we're worth less as far as everything else that's alive on this planet. Like, I think we're definitely not worth a whole lot. I think if anything, we're a nuisance.
you're making the argument that we should just end our lives.
No.
Maybe
I'm on the pro not having kids thing, though. The don't have kids billboard that was put up in that whatever.
I think that anybody who comes out and says that you shouldn't have kids, then maybe you shouldn't have kids.
I think, and also they state a lot about how like they're pro people choosing to have kids, but they want people to really think about it before they decide to do it, because it kind of is morally wrong considering the fact that we do infringe upon the life of every other living thing on this planet.
Okay, so
to such a horrible degree.
So I have a
we're burning it to
lifeline
the
here. Is that
ground.
this is my lifeline? Is that Aiden is coming in? Maybe he can speak. Go ahead, Aiden.
Aiden.
Kong. Hello.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Can you hear?
Yeah.
Okay. I don't think I can hear anything else. I just wanted to give you a little bit of a chance to do the board and read the comments if you want to, so you can, you can help run the show a little bit smoother. If you just want to continue with me here as a consultant.
Well, we can hear you. I mean, like, you're on air, so you could speak, and I'm sure if you speak, you guys can speak.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Can you hear him?
Yeah.
No, I can't hear Adam or Josh, but
Right.
I can't keep your live stream open because it's so delayed. Is it possible for you to get me on Discord right now?
Potentially. I mean, yeah, you can. Yeah, I can get you through Discord, and then I can also run you into the whole entire recording.
Okay.
Lifeline.
Go for
I'm
it.
Yeah.
down with the life.
Yeah. Okay.
Sure.
Okay. Let me. I have to. Excuse me, ladies and gentlemen. I have to run to my car to get one simple attachment, and then we can have Kong jump into it. But you guys can have a chit chat while I run and do that. I have you both on split screen.
You're out of frame.
I'm not. Have I been out of frame?
No, you're good. Don't. Yeah,
No,
you're
it's
fine.
because of the
here. I'll
split
move you.
screen.
It's fine. It's fine. I'll get you in there. There you go. Now you're in frame.
Nice.
So,
Thanks, man.
What you guys do today?
Played some OSU today.
oh my God.
Set a high score on a
Do you know
song
there's
I've been
only
trying to
one
get.
abortion clinic in Missouri?
I did, actually.
Did you know there's only 4 in Kansas? There was
I would expect there to be less in Kansas.
there
than
was
Missouri.
actually like upwards like 23 in the like 80s, and
Yeah.
then they've just slowly been
whittled
cut out,
away.
whittled
Man,
away.
It's a shame.
I know, man. Did you know that private domestic adoption costs between $20,000 and $50,000?
I did know that. I've known a couple people who adopted kids.
Yeah.
It's a rough process.
Yeah.
Did you hear, speaking of abortion, about that lady who had 115 aborted fetuses in her apartment?
Oh yeah, and
DC?
she like
She stole
them, and yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
What's going on there?
I don't know.
What do you...
That poor lady. She probably needs help.
So she buried 110 of them.
Yeah.
She kept 5.
Mm-hmm.
Why would you keep 5?
I don't know why you would keep 5. I'd understand burying them because, if you think
Right,
they're
if you
alive,
think,
then
then you gotta give them a barrel. Why keep so little?
that is odd that she kept 5. I'm not sure.
What
I
did
didn't
she keep
really
them for?
research that story very much.
I tried to a little bit.
Colin, can you speak?
Yeah, I'm speaking right now. Can you hear me?
Yep.
Yes.
You guys can hear him?
Definitely.
Can he hear us?
Let me see if the live stream can hear.
No, 100% they can hear.
Okay.
I maybe, yeah. You're in fact you're very loud.
All right,
but
have
you're good.
Adam and Josh talk a little bit so I can see if I can hear him.
Yeah. Hello. Hi. How's it going?
Welcome,
This
Aiden.
is Adam.
Speak up a little bit.
Oh, sir, can you
I can hear Josh. I
see?
recognize that voice.
Can't-
How's it going, Leather Daddy?
What's up, dog?
Nice.
I know. They won't stop.
I like it. It's good. It fits you.
I hate it, but it's
Mm.
all right. I think the fact that I hate it means it's going to stick around forever.
Oh,
so I might
yeah.
as well get used to it.
This is exactly true. It's exactly true.
Mm-hmm.
So,
So, yeah. Any words? Any words?
I
on this,
mean,
Aiden?
yeah. So I've just been listening along for a little bit,
Mhm.
doing some of my work. The topic of rights came up,
Right.
and I think we can expand on that a little bit, right?
Sure.
Rights. I just wanted to ask Adam. Adam, what is a right, man?
Well, that's a good question. I
That
don't
is
know.
a good
I don't know that I
question.
have a great answer for
Well,
that.
whatever the annoying philosophers say that the only right a human being has is death and taxes and suffering or something like that. So, I mean,
Yeah, I'm gonna
I've
hop
heard
onto
that too,
Josh's
John.
bandwagon there. I'm pretty nihilistic about life. We have the right to die
and to suffer,
and to suffer.
and if the government's always going
cry.
to be around, then
Yeah.
then taxes.
Okay, that's a really funny answer. And it's also, just kind of like
But
against everything that you've been arguing. But I'll circle back to that. I just wanted to comment on the fact that you're both nihilists, which is just kind of sad. And I'll pray for both
Yeah,
of you,
thank
and that
you.
you can find purpose in your life.
Appreciate it, dog.
Because I don't think anybody should be living life without purpose, and I don't think anybody should not find any intrinsic value in their life. But, as you both know, right? We live in the United States. Or at least I'm assuming you know. I'd like it if you knew that.
Okay.
What separates our country from almost every country in the world, right? And it's the reason that during these COVID lockdowns, you saw so much resistance during or inside the United States that you wouldn't see across Europe, right? And that's the fact that in America, we do have the intrinsic belief that all of our rights are God-given, right? Not right as in like legal rights, right as in like, do you understand? And that's in the Constitution, maybe not the Constitution, but I know for sure the Declaration. Both foundational documents are equally as important. But we have the God-given right to life, liberty, the pursuit of happiness. But it seems that nowadays everybody is really quick to call anything that they think they want or they think would be good for us a right. Josh, Adam, would you guys consider healthcare a right?
I think it should be.
I would agree with that specific wording. I think it should be a right.
You think it should be a right?
Yes.
Okay.
Correct.
And so, but you hear it a lot. Healthcare is a human right.
Mm-hmm.
You hear a lot of things are a human right.
Okay.
But what I'm trying to say though is that life is a solidified right written into our foundational documents, right? All of our rights are positive rights, which means they're rights that you have for yourself, not taken away from others. They're things you can do, not things you can't do. And that sentiment that you guys were sharing, that my rights extend as far as your rights go, right? So my rights extend as far as they overlap with your rights or they interfere with your rights. The ability to have sex, get pregnant, and then not hold the baby for 9 more months is not a right, has never been a right. These things are just, it's simply not rights.
these things don't really don't really matter. Well, it matters, sure, it matters. I didn't. That was a slip of the tongue. Did not mean to say that. But these things, that's not a right. You know, what is a right is the right to life, right? That's why murder is a crime. And how I mentioned in the comments earlier, if you kill a pregnant woman, that's double homicide, right? Both those organisms had the right to life that you just took away from them. And I feel like if you want to call abortion a right, that strips the child of its right to life. So not only is abortion not a right, also your argument is flipped on its head in that scenario, right? The child's right to life is not overlapping your right to not have a child. Your right to not have a child is overlapping its right to life. I mean, and in fact, you already had the choice not to have a child. You already had that choice. It's not like you literally had to get pregnant. There are 0.01% of cases where you are raped. But nobody is forcing you to have that child. And so if we're talking about rights and the right to life and the, in quotation marks, right to have an abortion, I mean, I don't think that there's any way that argument is valid. Not legally, not according to our foundational documents.
So in those fringe cases of rape, how does that work? How do rights plan out there? I know you said they're fringe, but they still matter. How does that work?
Yeah,
out?
put aside the 99.99%. What about that 0.01%?
I'm just curious how that breaks down with your ideas.
Well, the thing is that the rights thing isn't really my ideas, right? I mean, that's your ideas. That's your playing field.
That's not the point I'm bringing up, though. I'm bringing up how does your view on this account for those fringe cases? What does it do in those situations? I'm curious.
In those situations, right, your rights have already been violated, but that does not mean you can violate somebody else's rights. Your rights were violated by a man. Okay. That man is to be castrated, put to jail for life, if not killed.
And then they still have to carry the baby to term, yeah?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Because again, it violates that child's right. You know, that child is not violating your rights, that man did. It's not that child's fault. That child didn't do anything to you. In fact, it was, I mean, the man put him there. You know, and in cases of consent, both of you put him there. And it's not his actions that are doing anything. And you can't just force, you know, yourself and violate his rights like that. That's like, right, it's not okay. You know, if we're talking about the rights arguments. But normally, you know, the thing is life's a life. Whether mommy and daddy consented to creating that life, whether mommy or daddy wants him there, that life is a life. You can't just get rid of it because you want to. That's never been the case.
So what is your definition of a life? You have thrown that term out a lot specifically.
That term specifically, yeah. Okay. This is a relatively easy one, but I'm gonna still make it long and overblown because that's just the way I talk.
I feel you there.
Yeah. So I mean, a life, right, is it's an individual human, a soul. It is an individual human because from the minute of conception, that being has its own unique DNA. You know, I mean, that's a life, right? If I go to Mars and I find a single cellular organism that's squeaming around by itself out there, that's life. You know, that's life on Mars.
So it's not just a human. So it's any living organism. So we got to break that down farther. Then. What qualifies a living organism?
Yeah, you vegan or?
Do you say what constitutes a living organism?
Yeah, so if we find it on Mars, it's a life, and we can't end it.
No. I never said you can't end it. Don't put words in my mouth here, Adam.
Okay, then I'm confused on your point.
No, humans are intrinsically more important.
Okay, a human life cannot be.
A human life. Oh, okay. There we go.
That's the only one I care. That's the only one I care about, really.
Oh,
I eat animals every day, man. I eat 2 times as meat as the regular human, just so I can say one vegan who thinks they're making a difference really isn't.
I saw that on Reddit yesterday.
And I thought it was pretty funny.
Mm.
But no, I mean,
I-
the thing is that humans specifically were created in God's image, and they were created to, I wouldn't say rule over, but I mean, yeah, dominate over the animals that God put in the Garden of Eden, right? And humans are the only creature on this earth that is in God's image, and I wouldn't even call them animals. Even though I probably just did, but I can't remember what I said. They're not animals. We're humans. We're different.
Okay.
Because of the what makes us different is it's the soul. It's the creation in God's image. And there's a lot of factors that just differentiate us like that. I think it was Aristotle talks about in the Politics, right? He actually touches on what makes humans different from animals. To Aristotle, it was that humans are an inherently political creature, which means we care about community and we care about justice. In the Bible, it's that we were created in the image of God. You know, it's and the Bible specifically says that we could kill and eat animals, but you know, it's one of those things where it's
Can't eat them all.
I
Not all
What?
animals.
Because
There's
then
some nasty
everyone
ones
will
out there.
die.
Mhm.
I'm not. Hey man, I'm not Jewish. I recognize the
Oh, covenants
verse
cannot
in
be
Acts.
broken, though. You are
The
still
what?
under the old covenant, bro. God's covenants cannot be
no.
broken.
Oh, if we actually want to walk down that aisle, then
No, Adam would love to debate you guys
I
on
think
religion.
Sam will touch a little
I'm
bit more if
sure.
we walk down that aisle. But the reality of that is that there's a specific chapter in Acts where Sam, we read this together. Was it Peter who was at the fishing hut? It was
which
Peter who was.
which chapter? What are you talking about?
I don't know what it's in Acts. It's when Peter is the God appears to Peter while he's at his fishing hunt and says, "Go kill and eat." And Peter says, "Oh, not what is unclean, Lord. No, Father, I'll never break kosher." And then God does it 3 times, and then eventually he says, "Peter, do not call what I have made clean unholy." And that's I mean that's New Testament. That's basically sums up the entire breaking of the kosher system.
But
Right,
God
is
also
that-
says that you cannot break my covenants. So now we got some contradictions going on.
Well,
And I
it's
think if
God's
we look
covenant.
a little deeper, we're going to find a lot of contradictions in that book.
We got
If God's infallible and he says you can't break his covenants, that his covenants cannot be broken, then he can't even break his own covenants.
I hear
yeah,
that
again-
a lot.
Okay,
Interesting.
we're
We're here to
now
talk
now
about
I'm
abortion.
becoming like the
This
more of the
isn't even about
mediator right here. Okay, we need to steer back to
Yes.
abortion and the
Go
topic.
back to
I could say
abortion.
that what Kong is speaking about is not necessarily just rights, but he's also extending to what is a responsibility.
Okay.
I think that's the piece that he's missing there, is that whenever he's saying these rights, but really what is the responsibility of the mother? Is the responsibility of the mother to look out for what's in her best interest or what's in the best interest of her child?
Aren't they intrinsically linked? If the mother cannot afford to feed herself, then why would she ever try to take on the responsibility of caring for another life?
Hear a single word Josh was saying. I'm gonna be real.
Say it louder, Josh.
I said that the quality of life of the child that is
Hey,
in
say
the
it
mother,
louder. I got you on mic. Don't worry, you'll be fine.
they're intrinsically linked. The child and the mother in their quality of life. If the mother cannot afford to feed herself, then why would she ever take on the responsibility of another person's life?
And so I would say that why would she take on that? Why would she choose to have sex? Like
Not only that-
responsible woman would say that, okay, I don't
My
want to
headphones
put
are
the position, I don't want to put myself in this position where I have to choose whether or not the life or not life, right? Is that I responsibly, I'm not going to put myself in this position where I could end up having to make a decision of whether or not to get an abortion or not to get an abortion, right? That's why
Now, let's
that's
say
why I'm
that
talking
they
about
were
responsibility
totally in
now.
a position where
Yeah,
they
I mean
could.
that's real, Sam. But what I also say is, in that case, in the case that does happen, and that this woman who can't really afford to live by herself, and it surely can't afford to raise a child because inflation rates are insane and one income can't even support 3 people anymore. that's besides the point. That's the responsibility of the church to step in. Purely, I
Of
mean,
the
and
church.
that is in Scripture. And I think it's a very sad failure of the church today is lack of community and lack of charity. Surely not in all churches, but in most churches that I've interacted with and I've been with, these problems that are clearly laid out to us in Ephesians and in Timothy and in Corinthians they're not addressed. But it is the responsibility of the church and the church congregation to help support the mother and this child. Because again, like, I hold reverence for all human life, and not just unborn human life. Once those people are born, they still matter. They still matter to me. I'd still cry if they died. And it's our job to support them. It is. It's the church's job to come together and support them. We're not just leaving them on the wayside.
So I would say
we're not. Abortion isn't supposed to be the only option, and it's not. There's always the option: don't have sex. Don't have sex. You don't need sex. Why do you need sex? You don't have self-control. You need your stimmies. Yeah, okay.
I would also say that we're not pointing at the woman saying it's your responsibility, but I'm saying also that it's the responsibility. I'm with Kong on this, is that it is the responsibility of the church to step in into.
Churches seem to do a lot of things.
Mm-hmm.
One thing, having been in a church for 20 odd years of my life, that I have really never seen them do is care about born children that are not a part of their congregation.
Yeah.
They do seem to spend an awful lot of money and resources and time convincing women who need abortions that they're monsters.
Then I would say that that's not a church.
Pick a church, man. I mean, where are these
Yeah.
organizations that go and actually care for these children versus organizations
Yeah.
that belittle mothers for abortions?
I mean,
Seems
and
incredibly
I did
disproportionate to argue that this is the church's responsibility when this is not a thing that churches en masse do. When they do the opposite.
I did say that, man. I did.
He
I
did,
said
yeah.
I said that it's a failure that we see in the church. It is. It is, and I agree with
Well,
you there.
if the church isn't going to do its job, then why? Then I'm not going to trust.
the church should
When
be
the
made to
church
do
starts
its job.
doing its job about that, then I'll be on board with your argument at least a little more than I am now.
Yeah, I just feel like if it's the church's job and the church doesn't do its job, then why even bring it up?
Then
That just doesn't really help anybody in this situation. Seems like the church really is doing what then?
The church at the moment, it does plenty, right? Spiritual wellness, introducing people to God. But I mean, there are also in the modern times other venues to go down, right? Again, you could give your child up for adoption. You don't have to take care of that child.
Yeah, because the
And I know that's
adoption
something. I know that
agencies
something
are
you guys really
totally
hate
working,
to. You really hate to bring up. You guys don't like to avoid. And I heard you, Josh. I will say that adoption needs to be more efficient than it is now.
Thank you.
Right now, we have a surplus of couples looking to adopt and a shortage of children who are up for adoption.
No. 123,000 waiting for adoption in foster care systems.
No. But what he's referring to is newborn babies, not necessarily those who are.
Those usually come from private domestic adoption.
No, the newborn babies are always in high demand. I wasn't really referring to the kids that are like 10 because unfortunately you can't.
They're too old,
children.
right? Yeah. They're too old now. Not needed or wanted. It's only the babies. It's weird.
Yeah, I'd probably take him in. Then again, I'm not in any position. I'm not in any position to bring a 10-year-old in.
Yeah, God forbid somebody put that on you then.
Yeah, well, no, I mean,
there was a way out of that.
If someone put that upon me, I'd
wait. Did you just make the
stand
argument
out.
there that it's better for them to be aborted than to be in?
Yeah.
I was
I mean,
more
that's
referring back to
also
the
stupid.
rape cases where he was saying
I
that
mean-
even then, no shot.
No, but what it sounded like
I
is that you're
mean,
making the
first
point
of all-
that it's better to be aborted than to be a foster child.
No.
Yeah.
That's not.
First-
Not specifically
first
a
of all-
foster child, but
First
into
of
an
all, Adam-
unwanted household, probably.
First of all, Adam, if someone were to push that onto me, right,
Yeah.
I'm not going to back down.
Back
I'm
down
going.
from what?
I'm gonna. I'm not gonna back down from the conquest and challenge that is parenting. I'm going to step up and I'm going to work my butt off and I'm going to do what I have to do to raise that kid, right? Because
Okay.
it'd be immoral and wrong of me to do anything other than do what I will do what I can to be the best parent for that child. That was
What if
thrust
your
onto
best
me,
is not
right?
enough?
I
What if
think
your
we-
best
yeah.
sucks ass?
I think all
And
of
you
us
gave that kid
know
a terrible
plenty of people
Well,
who have absolutely no business being a parent.
They should give their kids up for adoption if they're already born.
Well, the thing is though is just because I can't give a kid that was thrust upon me as much as a middle income kid in America, right? Just because I can't give him as much, and because he may perceive, or he may perceive the fact that his life sucks, it's still better for me to try my best to support him and try my best to keep him alive than it would be for me to kill him, right? There's no universe in which that child would rather be dead and in which I would rather have that child be dead. That's just stupid. To put it like blatantly out on the table, the fact that there's a prospect someone might not have a great life. Let's just kill him.
I think we then
that's-
get
I
back
think
to
that's
the
really
point
dumb.
of that we just fundamentally disagree on how life works.
Yeah.
Right? Because I'm not advocating for that, but that's because I believe in something other than you do.
Well,
I don't
Which
believe
is
we're
the human
killing that
soul and
life.
then
I think
inseminated
we are
egg.
preventing that life from fully developing. And I think that is a vastly different idea to what you are saying. So of course we don't agree, and we never will.
Yeah, but what value do you put on life?
What value do you put on life? I'd like to know.
What value do I put on life?
Depends
What
on
kind
the
of life
Yeah.
are we talking about? I'm going to need specifics
You're-
here.
I'm just gonna put up there your life. What value do you put on your life,
Ooh, on
Adam?
my life. A
Yeah, on your
decent
life.
amount. I like my life pretty good. I don't know how I quantify value though. I'm gonna be real. I don't know what
You
you
like
have in
your
mind
life a
for
lot.
this.
You
Sure,
like
what
your
would
life
I
a lot.
do to continue my life? What would I'm not sure what this question actually means.
No, I'm just asking how you value life. I mean, you care about your life, you know.
Yes,
That's
I
what you
care
just
about
said.
my life. I do.
You like your life.
I do.
And
Mhm.
you'd prefer it if it continued. Right?
Ideally. For
Why is it that you for now? Why is it that you value your life, Adam?
now. Because I've been living it so far.
You have been living it so far. And wait, so
I'll
that's
tell you
that's
what, I
that's
didn't
what
value my life
value-
when I was a fetus
Good point.
You didn't.
I don't think a
because
fetus
I didn't have a
values-
goddamn thought.
Yeah.
Let's refrain from using the Lord's name in vain,
But
please.
well,
Sure.
yeah, don't disrespect my God like that.
Force a
especially
habit.
Not putting his name right back or right next
Our
to it.
apologies.
For your
That's
protection,
vulgarity
not
there. But,
ours.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just trying to keep you out of hell.
wait. What did
Although I
that
don't
mean?
think I can do
That,
that.
that means that you can
He's
curse.
worried about your soul.
You can,
Oh, not
Yeah.
that. Okay, I took that differently.
I
Sure.
think what we're seeing here, Sam, is a classic case of total depravity. But
Ooh,
I
I like
digress.
that one.
That's fun.
Yeah, total depravity. You like that? I think
I
that's
like
John
that
Calvin.
you are thinking on
Um,
the total depravity. That's pretty cool.
What's it? So, total depravity got me off the rails here.
Do you think I'm
Talking about John
depraved?
Calvin always.
Do you think I'm depraved?
It means something different.
well, I think that Kong and I
Um,
would both agree that you are depraved from life.
But yes, you
Ooh.
were depraved from life.
What do
but
you mean by that?
you say that
I'm
you
also
value.
curious.
If you had been aborted in the fetus, even
Yeah.
though you're saying I didn't value my life there, I wouldn't have
Right.
a gosh darn thought,
Sure.
right? Just to put it as Disney as possible.
Mm-hmm.
Gotcha.
Make it a little bit
Careful
PG
with that
there.
terminology there, though.
Yeah, I heard they're full
Yeah.
of pedos now.
Mm-hmm.
but
Can't say that
If
on
that-
YouTube
if-
or else
if-
we'll get.
if the ability
Watch
if,
out.
if the ability to have the life that you now value was ripped from you, that would be
Okay.
bad, right?
Only because I
Do
value
you think
it?
that would be bad? Well, you've just
if I
said yourself
didn't-
you have value to it.
Right, but if I didn't have value to it, then it also wouldn't matter if that was ripped away, right?
Yeah, if there's no
Well,
self-attributed value, then you
Then
can't take
there's-
away you can't diminish the value of it because it's not there.
I don't understand the argument you guys are making here, guys. Sam, Adam, you said you had value. You said
yes.
you liked your life and you said you valued it.
I do.
If you never had the opportunity to have life, that would be a bad thing, right?
Not to me, because
your life had value. No, I'm not talking about to you.
To
No,
who?
I never said to you in that sentence.
Who
In
does
general,
this
dude,
impact?
objectively.
That's not
I'm
an
not-
objective
well, there's-
idea. Somebody
Yes,
has
it
to
is
be
an objective
impacted.
idea.
Yeah.
Who is
No.
being impacted?
No, well, first of all, you're being impacted.
But
Like,
I'm not
because
if
you
I'm
can't
not
think
a
it's not-
if I was never here to begin with, then I'm not being impacted because I
But
never
you are. No, but you are.
So-
Oh,
because
this is a fun
the value
philosophical.
that
Okay.
value that your life holds now would never come to fruition. It would have been ended inside of
Sure.
the womb. You are impacted greatly. Because,
there's
like
no
you said,
you
your
to
life
but,
has
impact.
value.
but in that timeline,
Right.
I would have never been here to be impacted. So no, I wouldn't be. I can only think of this and answer this because that did not happen. If that did happen, a lot of things would be different in the lives of the people surrounding me, but they would not feel a hole where I don't exist.
I think you might be incapable of abstract thought.
No, I think the opposite is true here, because the problem is that you're saying that if you were to never exist, that would be bad for you because you want to exist, right? But again, if Adam never
okay,
existed,
no.
he would then never have wanted to exist, and then therefore, like, the argument falls apart
Okay,
there.
but here we circle back is that life doesn't just have a value because Adam thinks it has a value. Right? I feel like this is the fundamental disconnect here. In this argument in particular has shown a spotlight on it. Is that I'm talking from a perspective as that life has value, and Adam is talking in a perspective of this life only has value when I say it has value because I think it does.
But you're trying to attribute objective value. And
why can't objective value be attributed?
Because then we all have equal value, and
Do we not all have equal value, Adam?
capitalism
Probably
would
not.
disagree, yeah.
I'm not talking about capitalism.
I know,
asked
but I'm
about
just
Adam.
saying there's plenty of people who do not add value to other people's lives, while in comparison there are other people who do add value. And then, they get
yeah,
paid
I mean,
for
I
it.
would say the actions you take and the things you do in your life can have different values, and I think obviously people have different value. I don't think that's a wrong thing to say. I don't think no one is worthless. No one is without value. But sure, I mean, like a doctor who saves lives is probably has more value than I do. I've never saved a life before. I don't feel bad that I have less value than that. I never chose to try to have that much value in my life. Most people don't. I don't think anybody is wrong for that, though. Like, that's just the way we are, right? Well,
Yeah.
I mean, like,
so
are there people more valuable in the world than you? Or do you really think you have equal value to every other person on this planet?
yeah, I can tell that you guys are nihilists.
Yeah,
So
I am.
a
Here.
beautiful nihilist.
I have found
The beautiful
much
nihilist.
peace and happiness in that.
Yeah.
Josh, are you a big Nietzsche fan?
Yeah, I've heard
You're
of
a
Nietzsche.
Nietzsche guy?
Yeah.
You've heard of
God
it.
is
You've never
dead,
read-
and we have killed him, and his whole argument, at least
Have
as
you-
far as that.
Have you never
nonsense,
have
yeah.
you never read Thus Spoke Zarathustra or anything like that?
Zarathustra? No.
Yeah, I don't know no one knows how to pronounce it.
I know. I'm sorry as a corrective
uh,
ass about that.
Yeah.
Hey, as the mediator, my mic is a little bit soft, so I'm gonna bring him up. Okay, check mic check. I want to know what it looks like for a woman to be forced to carry, like the process of that.
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Well, you've made the
For a
claim
woman
multiple
to be
times
forced
that
to carry?
yes, well, you made the multiple times the claim that a woman should not be forced into pregnancy or forced to take care of a child.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm curious what it looks like to be forced into.
Arresting her for attempting to abort her child?
Right. The thing is it's not forced pregnancy. You're just not allowing access to safely stop that pregnancy or to terminate it.
Or to imprison, or in your words,
Yeah.
electric chair people who do try.
I was being hyperbolic. It was
I
at the
know,
beginning
I'm
of the
just- I'm
show.
just- I'm-
Easy.
And also
I'm
to
fucking-
avoid the, YouTube nonsense, we should probably, I think the
But-
term these days is Robloxed.
Yeah.
Did you say Roblox?
Yeah.
Whatever. I didn't even understand the question, man. What are we talking about?
I was saying that, like, if we're going to
I
talk
knew it was
about
directed at you.
terminating lives here, the term is Roblox, at least as far as I'm aware
Oh
of
yeah,
internet
the
culture
term
or
is
whatever.
Roblox.
Yeah.
Yeah. Should we use that for the rest of the time?
Because they started finding people who are saying in Minecraft after stuff like real easily. So.
Oh yeah. So we're gonna say killing people in Roblox.
No, we're gonna say Robloxed. We should
Oh, okay.
Roblox.
Just
But I don't
Roblox.
Cut out the
we should
K
roll.
word altogether. Yeah.
But yeah, so back to Nietzsche and back to Nihil, because I
Yeah.
have read the Thus Spoke Z Word
Mm-hmm.
book, because I'm not gonna say it right, and then Josh is gonna correct me again, and it's gonna
Yeah,
be,
no, I'm
it's gonna
sorry.
be funny.
I'm sorry.
But I have read that book, and I mean, the argument that I use to pull a lot of, I mean, as a young man in America, I have had experiences with a lot of people who think nihilistically and who think that their life has no value and their life has no worth. And
That's not nihilism. But
they
Intrinsic.
but they need, but it's, they're in a hole at that point, instead of where Adam said he's living wonderfully and beautifully in this life.
Oh, yeah. Really?
You said something along those lines. I'm not quoting you here.
Well,
But
I'd
it's
summarize well.
a lot of kids think that way and get sad. They get in the slump, and they feel like they could just take their life and it wouldn't matter. And yeah, I mean, the argument that I use a lot of the times I contextualize myself within their own beliefs, and then I go forward by saying, like, you have touched so many lives, and you will touch so many lives that it'd be irresponsible to end yours, right? Because it's meaningful to other people, and that's what gives it meaning, right? So just like that, you guys are attributing the value a human has to other people, right? Or not to other people, but to the works you do on Earth. And I would say that, I mean, no, that's not the case. And I'd say, because from a religious standpoint, I'm extremely religious. We are all made in the image of God, which gives us value, and we are all part of His plan, which gives us value. I mean, and at the end of the day, there is objective value, just like there is objective morality, and I mean that cannot be taken away from a human. But again, that's a disconnect, where unless God touches your life and you're saved, you'll never believe that, which is sad. And it's also sad to see you guys as nihilists, right? Because I may not show it, Josh, but I've enjoyed working with you a little bit.
Oh, you're growing a soft spot for the anarchist, are you?
Oh, yeah. It's more like
mutual, man.
like a little brother kind of relationship.
Oh, sure.
That's kind of cute considering he's like younger than.
I know.
Yeah. It's cute considering I'm like at least 5. I don't know how old Josh is.
We'll see.
I'm guessing
we'll-
26.
Yeah, actually, dead on. Good job.
Okay. So
Anyway,
but
we feel sorry for
I
you,
mean,
you know.
Oh well, you have no reason to feel sorry for me because I walk in the joy of the Lord, and
See,
when I
but-
walk in the joy
But
of
you
the Lord,
wholly
what can ruin my mood?
misunderstand the people you're trying to have a conversation with. And that
I
is a
don't
little
misunderstand the people I'm trying to have a conversation
Ye-
with. No, I understand you completely.
Oh, I promise you don't.
What's wrong here is that you don't understand the truth about life, the truth about the world, and the truth about the society you live in. And you don't understand the truth of your creation and the truth of your existence. You don't understand what God's love feels like. And you don't understand what it feels to be, or how it feels to be completely joyous and walking in the light of the Lord. That is something I feel bad for you for.
See, this
and
real
I'll just
interesting
take shrooms
stuff.
for that.
I mean,
the things you assume about me are very interesting. I like that
things I
you
assume
assume
about
I have never been feeling the things you feel in a church before.
Oh, yeah, that's actually.
Because how
a good
could I
point.
feel those things and end up on this side of this conversation, right?
no, it's
How
because
could
you
I?
can't. Because these things are felt by someone who is saved.
Only
and
the saved
obviously
can feel
you
it
are not.
genuinely.
Mm-hmm.
What if I told you at one point in my life I believed I was, and I felt all the things you feel, and I still ended up on this side?
Yeah,
of the
same thing
conversation?
with
Then
me,
I would say you were tempted
That I
by
was never
Satan
there?
to put
Oh no!
to put an ugly bar through your nose.
So,
and
so I
I'm
really,
totally
I
depraved.
really
Watch it.
did feel those things and then choose to walk away from them. Or would
Well,
you say
okay,
I never really? Because
you-
these are the two things I usually. Because
Well,
these are the
okay,
two things I usually hear.
Right, here's the things. Here's the thing,
Uh-huh.
Adam. Did you?
Did I?
Let's talk about that. Let's not talk about
I
this
think I did.
hypothetical. Did I? You okay? So you were in the church. How long were you in the church? This is actually interesting. How long were you in the church, Adam?
19 years.
19 years. How old are you? 26 as well?
24.
24.
Mhm.
Okay. So how did you leave the church? When did you leave the church? Oh, of course.
Well,
Of course. You
in
left the
or
church
leave.
5 years
I
ago.
guess this
5 years ago.
semantics.
How did you leave the church?
If you talk about like my genuine belief in a God, that has been a very long time. I have continued
Okay.
to go to a church until I was 18 or 19.
Whew.
I'm actually kind of the opposite, where, well, I actually have been to church with probably, I think within the last year. That was probably the last time since my church closed or whatever. But like, as far as like believing that Jesus died on the cross for everyone's sins, I think that belief was gone for me about 4, closer to like 4 or 5 years ago.
Hey, Josh, can you just get a little
Yeah,
bit
there's-
closer? To the
Oh my God, I'm so sorry.
Yeah, there's a big disconnect and from theology from the churches, and I don't know if me and Sam are on the same side as this, because when it comes to theology, me and Sam can actually get a little bit heated. But I am of the opinion of permanence and salvation. Right? There's a lot of people who believe.
Oh,
Say-
so I'm going to heaven.
Hey,
See you there,
hell
dog.
yeah, dog.
No,
Ooh, we're gonna have some
no.
fun times in
No, no,
heaven
no.
for sure.
Let me explain to you what I think salvation is.
Oh,
right?
okay.
Oh, okay.
Salvation isn't, no, Jesus died for my sins, dude. Like saying it out loud,
Okay.
and then you're saved, right? Salvation is, it's like God touches you. It's a change in your actions. It's a change in the way you think, the way you live your life. It's a change in the way you act.
I would
It's a complete change of life, a complete change of spirituality, and it's a complete
Oh.
change
What if you
of
grew up in
No, I
it,
know.
though?
of
So,
you.
but and
And,
can I guess
at the
where
end of
you're
the
gonna
day,
finish
if-
this with? That if
Well,
I truly
okay.
was ever saved, that I never would be able to turn away, right?
Exactly.
Yep, I knew it.
What about the well, just thoughts, just throwing out some stuff. What about the idea that Jesus died for the sins of all people, regardless? I'm on board with that idea.
Well,
I
you
like
may
that
be on board with
interpretation.
that idea. You may like that idea,
I
but
do
that's
like
like
it.
scripturally not what happened. And I don't think there's a single structured church that would agree with you on that point there. Just because it's something that we like doesn't mean it's something that happens. And I also would love for Jesus to have died for the sins of everybody, man. And he did die for the sins of everybody, actually. Now that I'm saying it out loud, yeah, he did.
Well,
But you have, in order
For
to
God's
receive that
chosen.
sacrifice, in order to receive that sacrifice, you have to follow God.
see, but here's
you have
the
to
thing.
follow God.
I have such a
Um,
problem philosophically with your version of Christianity, because
With my version of Christianity.
well,
Yeah.
yes,
Just me
is
specifically, or Christianity as it is right now?
you
Hey, our viewership's going down as longer that we have it on you. So, Adam,
on who? Me?
could you speak a little bit more?
Oh,
wow,
I'm just enjoying
Yeah.
this.
Dang.
yikes.
Ooh. Yikes. That was
Man,
personal.
you
shot
haven't been
to
on camera in a
Leatherface.
while either, Sam. You want to talk about viewership counts
Yeah.
when you're on screen?
Yeah, nah.
Yeah,
Just hand the show over to me, honestly.
yeah. This is now
Hand
the
the- hey,
Adam
just hand the
Daily
show
Show,
over to Adam.
and
The Adam Daily Show.
we're
I
a
wouldn't watch
left-wing
that.
smut.
I'm gonna start talking about hentai every week.
Yeah.
Oh, no, gross. Please get off. Yeah, dude. If you're gonna bring up like hentai and porn on this live stream, I think it should just go down. Let's not talk about that here. Because
So
that's-
sorry.
I'm sorry.
So sorry. Sorry I brought hentai up.
Thank you.
So
Yeah.
back to my, before I was rudely interrupted by Sam and the analytics that I don't care about. My problem is that, we have the free will to follow God, but God is, timeless and eternal and knows all things that are going to happen and has chosen he knows who's going to follow him and who doesn't. So he allows the creation of people who aren't going to follow him, who then get subjugated. And he knows all of this, and it doesn't seem like a very loving God to me.
Okay.
Because he's allowing the majority of the population that he allowed to exist to then be punished for their quote unquote free will that I don't think exists because God is timeless.
So you're saying that God isn't fair?
Of course God isn't fair. Because God, that's a fundamental problem if you believe in a perfectly good God. If God isn't fair, well, I think being fair is kind of an intrinsic value of being perfectly good.
So you would believe that if God was fair, he would allow everybody into heaven?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So you're aware of at the beginning whenever it says that we're made in the image of God.
Mm-hmm. What do you mean?
What I'm saying is that those people who wronged you, would you want them in heaven?
Oh, yeah. Totally. I absolutely would.
Yeah, I mean, Josh, this is something that I'd encourage you to go and talk to a local priest about that, or a pastor, whichever one you feel, I was about to say whichever one you feel more comfortable going and talking to, but that's definitely doesn't matter. I feel like you should probably get the opinions of both, because depending on what kind of pastor you'd go to, they'd say a lot of
Finding a good
different things.
pastor is like finding a good therapist.
In fact,
It's weird how they all say
Thursday,
they hear from God, though, huh?
Interesting.
How are you supposed to know?
No, that's not all of them
Damn.
say they hear from God. They just interpret scripture differently. If someone is saying that they hear from God, like in modern times, if there's a pastor that's saying he hears from God, he either founded the Mormon Church, or
Can you
just
talk to God?
playing up for gags. But that's Josh. I would encourage you go talk to a pastor or a priest about that. Personally,
He likely didn't hear you.
Personally, I didn't. I study theology almost daily, but I don't I don't know the answer to that question. I can give a rough estimate to what the answer of that question would be. Maybe next Thursday, Sam, we can schedule a pastor or a priest to come on the show.
I can do that.
Talk about Christianity.
Sure.
Yeah, I think that would be really
There
cool.
was that one guy in the
Josh
last
can
one.
ask his questions.
Yeah.
But what I would say though, Josh, is that a lot of times what we have is a fundamental misunderstanding of what love is. And you're gonna laugh at it, yeah.
No, it just took me by surprise. That's all.
Yeah, no, yeah, it does take people by surprise when I say that. It does a lot. And sorry, I was laughing at something that popped up on my computer screen. But when a lot of people who aren't necessarily in the faith, and actually a lot of people in the faith, which is just concerning to me, will see the word love and be like, oh yeah, being nice to people, being kind to people, right? They'll be like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna accept people and tolerate people. The truth of the matter is, love, it's not generally being nice to people. Love is doing what's best for people, and love is extending yourself to do what is good, objectively good, because again, Christian morality, there is objectivity to what is good and what is bad. And it's doing that for others. That's love, right?
This is the same argument that the Westboro Baptist Church makes when they pick at funerals, by the way. I don't know that this is a strong one.
The Westboro Baptist Church.
They say they love people when they call them those words.
I don't like
probably
their
can't
version
also
of
say.
love or what they think is doing what's best for me.
Because that is what they think. Just like what you do and say is love is what you think is best for people. I know you say it's what the Bible says, but you have to interpret that as well. So really, it's what you think.
Well, the thing is, Adam and Josh, I'll address both of you here because you're both chipping onto that. First of all, just because someone who may not necessarily be a great person, I don't even know who the Westboro Baptist Church is personally.
You should look
But
that one up.
I do know that just because a bad person says something doesn't mean the person they say is bad. I mean that's just true.
What you're trying to say is that just because somebody says something and it is accurate doesn't mean that.
I know just because somebody is a bad person, or just because an organization is a bad person, doesn't mean that everything that comes out of their mouth is something that is wrong.
Like I could take a sword to your head, and I could say for the glory of God and take a sword to your head.
Right.
But
on the same page there.
Yeah.
But I'm saying that is the way they justify being hateful to people. And I think that
Oh,
is
okay,
a
no, well-
great justification because no one can tell you differently.
Well, the thing is, like again, it's hateful, right? What is hate? What is hate? You know, and that's.
I mean,
to
I
me,
think theirs is
hate,
a
hate
pretty.
hate is holding like resentment for people and long-standing. And I'd encourage anybody listening right now, forgive easy and quick, because hate and resentment is a poison that affects every single personal relationship you make. Will make you it will make you just like a grouchy, awful person to be around all the time. Don't hate, forgive easy, forgive quick.
As
But
you
Okay.
shouldn't hate
I mean,
trans or
that-
gay
but-
people.
But what's it? Like personal resentment, right? You can try to mask hate for love with that excuse, right? But at the end of the day, if it actually is a place of love, right, then who are you to say that it's not, and who are you to say that it's hate? I mean, it's about what they're feeling. And in addition, you say it's a great excuse. Well, that's just because that's what love is. And I mean, you can't refute it because I mean it's true. And what is best for you is in the Bible, and you can't really disagree with that because
can.
you know the guy who created
I
you
can.
and rules over the universe said so.
Hasn't done anything for me so far, so.
What?
Hasn't done anything for me so far, so I will
I mean,
disagree
you're
with
here.
that.
I mean, okay, listen.
Said I
That-
can't.
that-
I
that is-
absolutely
I
disagree
mean,
with it. I don't know what you
that's
mean by
an-
that.
It's an incredibly just disrespectful statement to God.
Sure,
Right.
I have a
mean,
lot of
and
very disrespectful statements towards God that I could tell you, but
And I
Yeah.
prefer you didn't.
I
I'd prefer you
know.
didn't.
I'm not
personally,
going
because,
to.
because I mean I'd prefer you not
Take it up with the
increase your
man
chances of
upstairs.
going to hell. Yeah.
I
I'd
have
prefer you
many
take it
a
up with the man
time.
upstairs.
Yeah, I have to.
I'm not threatening to say those things. I am saying I respect you as a person enough to not say those things. Regardless,
thank you.
I can disagree with those statements. Just because you believe in that does not mean that I can't disagree with it.
Like your version of God's love.
Okay, well here's another thing is that this is just another disconnect, right? Where it's, and I know the fact that there is objective love, and I know the fact that there's objective truth and morality to the world, and what God is, and who God is, and what His love is, and you guys are your judgment is clouded by sin, temptation, and Satan, and you can't see past those things to the truth.
I think
You know, I mean,
believe
at
in
the end of the day,
moral
that's what this all
objectivism
is.
versus moral relativism.
What'd you say, Josh?
I think moral objectivism versus moral relativism is still a belief, and just because you say it's objective doesn't necessarily mean it's objective, unless you show me objective evidence that good is objective.
Okay, my whole thing. Let me tune in here for a second. Is that I think that you may not see that good is objective, but I think that we could both agree that evil is objective.
That's not true either, Sam.
You don't think?
Because, well, no. Listen, what is this debate supposed to be about?
Abortion.
Abortion.
Abortion. I believe abortion is evil.
Right.
Okay.
And we disagree.
Yeah.
Exactly. So you can't even say that evil is objective, right? Because their life is ruled by evil.
Neither is good. Neither is love. Neither
No,
is
no.
being moral.
Oh,
No,
None of
what
it's
I'm
objective.
what I'm trying to
Both
say is
are
that we can get to
objective.
a common ground by speaking of what it we only can find objective or common ground in what is objectively evil. Like I could say that
Okay.
killing 10,000 human beings, wiping them off the
For
face of the planet,
funsies is
evil?
Evil.
Objectively evil. Yes.
Sure.
And then
But you
would
also
say,
say that abortion is objectively evil, and I say it's not.
Well, yeah, that's our disagreement there.
Right.
But what I'm saying though is that we can. But
Oh,
let me
I
let me
see.
let
We
me.
can-
So what? But whenever it comes
but
to good,
again,
we won't.
Sure.
We will not see eye to eye on what is objectively good.
Here's
Like,
a-
can you name something that is objectively good?
freedom.
No, because your life is based off
Oh,
of no
yeah.
purpose, and without
No,
any.
Well, no, I can
purpose-
definitely. I'm just trying to think of a good one. What is objectively good?
My thing is I still don't believe in objectively bad, because we may agree that killing 10,000 people is objectively bad, but Genghis Khan or some evil, quote unquote evil, some guy would disagree with us, and thus now it becomes subjective.
I would say drinking water is objectively good. Can we agree on that?
Ooh, There we go.
I'm
Well, you
also
can also
think
drink too
drinking-
much water if you're diabetic.
I'm a big, hey man,
Sure.
I'm a big water drinker.
Me too, man.
I personally drink a ton of like,
It's all right. Yeah.
dude, my piss is clear just the way God intended it to be.
So my question on that would be:
Um,
is that who deems that objectively good then?
But
Everyone.
What is
because
the
if
what
we
is
don't,
the
we die.
authority? No, I know, but what is the authority
Well,
on
there
that?
isn't.
the thing is, Sam, I just don't think that this little pipeline is worth going down. Right? I mean, the truth of the matter is that they can think that morality is subjective. They can think good and bad is subjective. But you know, just like how I know that morality, good and bad, aren't dependent on what individual people think. I know that what they think about morality and good and evil doesn't weigh in to what it actually is. Josh said, "I want objective proof that there is objective morality," and to which case I would mock him for being a soy and asking for source instead of using thoughts and ideas himself. But that's beyond the point. That's a little bit of just memeing. But then I would also say there is objective proof of that, and that is the KJV Bible that I'm currently holding in my hand.
Where
not just KJV,
I know you
not
can't
just
see his.
KJV.
I know you can't see his eyes right now because he's got those glasses on there, but he's rolling.
Also because I can't like watch the stream, or else there would be delay and I would be tripping over my words even more than I already am. But I mean, I know he's rolling them, and he can roll them all he wants. But that doesn't change the fact that he's wrong.
So okay, we're saying objective morality comes from the Bible?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, it
Can we
comes from the
agree
Word of
on a
God.
couple other things that might be maybe morally not so good, like slavery? We can all agree shouldn't own slaves, right?
I mean, yeah, that's in the Bible.
Not owning slaves is in the Bible.
Oh yeah, man.
Because
What's it?
so is legally
Philemon.
owning slaves.
Right.
Yeah, the book of Philemon. I don't. Have you?
The book
Adam,
of
you were in
Philemon?
the church. Yeah, you know the book of Philemon in the New Testament,
Okay.
right?
Sure.
Where
What's-
there's a man who runs a church out of his home. His name is Philemon.
Okay.
And one of his slaves escapes his house
Uh-huh.
and somehow stumbles into Paul, while Paul is in his travels, and Paul recognizes the man.
Okay.
And so the book of Philemon is it's a letter from Paul to Philemon, about the escaped slave.
Okay.
And Paul writes, when I send him back to you, do not think of him as your property. Think of him as a brother in Christ, just as you would think of me, right? So I mean, I would say that yeah, I mean, not having
So a
slaves is-
man in the Bible said that to another man. Also
Well,
in the
okay,
Bible,
so the
God
truth-
tells his followers that you can own slaves and that you shouldn't own Jewish slaves, but also there is a loophole to owning Jewish slaves. And that seems pretty clear cut to me of an endorsement for slavery.
That sounds
you need to-
like
you need to-
Talmudic.
You need to like dive into a little bit more. It's not.
Okay.
It's there's bond servants, and then there are those who are slaves.
Yeah.
And so when you are a bond servant, is that you have debts to be paid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when you think of
Well, I'm not
slavery,
talking
and I'm
about
thinking
bond
that
servants.
every single person who's listening, or not every person who's listening, but a majority of those who are listening, when you say slavery, it's likely thought of as somebody who is beaten.
I'm talking about the Jews taking slaves from other countries they conquered, which they did do, not bond servants.
Okay.
I'm aware of the difference.
Yes, but did they beat them?
Yes. It explicitly says you can beat them as long as they don't die.
Dope.
What the fuck? How are you okay with that? How is that a okay, normal thing for your Lord and Savior to tell you to do? That's insane.
I'm
And if,
again being a little hyperbolic here. I would have to look into.
But I'm
it.
being serious.
Do you know the chapter and verse?
I believe
Wait a
it's
second.
in Exodus.
Exodus.
also,
I'll have to read that. I'll have
bring
to check out that book.
Please do.
Another fun point. Do you believe that making a deal with the devil is bad? Christians?
What?
Do
I
you
don't know where you're
believe
going
that
with this
making a deal with the devil is bad?
How do you make a deal with the devil?
Ask God, because let me tell you who did that
Yeah, no,
in
no,
the
no,
book of
yeah,
Job.
Sam.
Yeah.
It's a real thing. Making
And you
dealing
know
with
who
the
made a
devil
deal with the
is
devil? God.
king.
God, the Lord Father himself, made a deal with the devil that the devil couldn't ruin Job's life enough that he would stop worshiping God.
Okay.
God made a deal with the devil to ruin one of his followers' lives. Objectively good God.
I'm
You're
just
right.
saying, if you're taking your moral objectivism from a book that tells you that you can not only own people, but beat those people as long as they live from that beating, that is a whacked moral compass. And you probably
I actually
not.
have a verse that I remembered from Colossians. That's going to be
Okay.
Colossians 4:1, which is, "Masters, treat your slaves justly and fairly, knowing that you also have a master in heaven."
Yeah. The fairness it's
you know,
already laid out, though, is beating them. That is fair in the Bible. So it's only reinforcing that belief.
I need your chapter and verse number there.
Okay, I believe it's in Exodus. I would like your chapter and verse on that one you just said to me then.
Sources.
Colossians.
Come
I
on,
already
man.
said-
What are you doing?
I did say
You said
Colossians
somewhere.
4:1.
Again, you called me out
said- I
for
didn't-
not for saying that I would like a source. And
You have
called me
used
as-
multiple Bible verses that you did not source. The minute I bring up one you don't like, you want a source on it. You got to give me the same thing, man. Oh, Exodus 21:20 through 21. Anyone who beats their male or female slave with a rod must be punished if the slave dies as a direct result. But if they are not to be punished, if the slave recovers after a day or two, since the slave is their property. Huh. Weird.
And it's in the New Testament, which apparently overwrites all the Old Testament nonsense.
No, that's Old Testament. Exodus.
Oh wait, Exodus. Sorry, I was thinking of
Exodus is
No,
Old Testament.
silly me. So I guess there is that argument.
There's
that
your
I
source.
realized.
You are a little silly guy, Josh.
I know. I'm just doing my best out here in this crazy
Okay,
world.
so I provided a source. How do we feel about this now? I don't want to move on. I want to know.
What do you want to know? Because
So
How-
that is
how
morally
many-
okay, right? That is God himself,
Yeah,
not
no,
even a
that's morally
person in
okay.
the Bible. Okay, so we can morally own
That's
and beat
objective morality.
slaves. I've actually
yeah.
never gotten anyone to agree on that before.
No, done.
Everyone in
No,
your
I'll agree
position
with
breaks
that.
down at this point. You're cool with slaves.
No, yeah.
Dedication.
No,
Wow.
listen.
Hey,
I
at least they're
have,
consistent.
I've had people talk to this different verses before, but there was one time a very good personal friend of mine. I was driving him home from church actually one day, and we were talking about it, and at some point we are in the car. We're in front of his house, and he started talking about all the times that people have gone to war in the name of God and stuff like that. Well, the thing is as humans, right? Who are we to argue what is good and what is bad with the man who is the personification of good and decides what is
solidly
good and
on
what is bad?
slavery being a pretty bad choice.
Yeah.
I don't know anyone
It's-
besides you who has ever taken this argument to, yeah, no, actually, slavery's good.
Well, no, okay.
This is pretty
It
nuts,
doesn't-
man.
it doesn't-
You
it
might want to
doesn't-
rethink
okay.
this stance.
No, listen. Okay, first of all,
You might want to talk to your pastor
first-
about the idea of owning slaves. I think he might have
first-
a few choice words
First of
for
all,
you.
Jack's
first of
at
all,
him.
it doesn't endorse slavery.
It
right?
does.
No, it doesn't.
Absolutely it
slavery
does.
is something that happens.
Nope, it doesn't unless you do it,
okay.
and it's saying for you to do it.
Adam, I want you to listen to me, okay?
Oh, I've
I
been
don't want
listening a
you-
lot, man. I've been
I
listening.
don't want you.
a
I don't want
lot.
you to just. I don't just want you to refute it the minute it comes out of my mouth. I want you to let me finish what I'm saying.
Okay, I
Um,
have been.
Right? The context of the verse, right? It doesn't. It's not saying that it's good to own slaves, right? It's what it's saying is that and you see it in the verse a lot, like in the Bible a lot, where it's submit to authority and
Okay.
actually slaves submit to your masters, stuff like that.
Wives
that
submit
sounds
to
like
your
an
husband.
endorsement.
Yeah.
Slaves submit to your masters?
But it's not saying people go look out and seek to make people into slaves. And at the same time, it's saying like you're not punished. You're punished if you kill someone, right? The verse isn't endorsing the beating of slaves. That's not what it's actually admonishing you killing slaves, right?
No.
No,
it
I mean,
is
you read
admonishing you killing slaves, but it is also telling you not to worry as long as they don't die.
Yeah.
That is the explicit only admonishment in there. It has all of the opportunity to admonish slavery. It never once tells you explicitly to not own slaves. It tells you how to treat your slaves. It tells you how to beat your slaves. It tells you not to kill your slaves. It never tells you to not have one. And I think that is really telling. It tells you not to eat shellfish. Tells you not to eat pig. It tells you to do a whole lot of not stuff. Don't have sex.
Oh, yeah.
Man, it can tell you a lot of things to
Get
not do. It just can't
circumcised.
find the place to not tell you to own a person.
So here's the silence is violence mentality. Also, I'd like to address Sarah Johnson in the comments who said Kong is lacking at showing. I wasn't prepared for this. I didn't even know it was happening until halfway.
No, yeah, we're
And
all lacking, dude.
I came because Sam was struggling.
I
and
didn't
don't like to
prepare
see
at
my
all for
friends
this.
No,
struggle.
yeah, I'm
Yeah.
glad you came.
I came because I saw my friends struggling, and
I didn't
know,
prepare
it's-
for this, for the record. I
yeah,
watched a
it's-
video on a woman who housed 115 aborted fetuses. That was all.
That's the
gross.
thing. That's your research.
Didn't even talk about it.
Yeah,
Yeah, a little bit.
this was about me helping my friend, and I wasn't sitting here researching abortion all day, and I could probably make a way
None
better
of us were.
case. I could
I
probably
tried
make a
to.
really
Okay,
great
gotcha.
case if I was doing my best to research and stuff, and I'm just trying to help out my friend. But
That's what Adam's here for me.
what
Yep.
but here we see the classic silence is violence mentality. And well, I do say it's classic, but it's just popped up recently. Well, I guess the mentality hasn't popped up recently, but the word silence is violence has. Where you say just because you don't speak out against something doesn't mean, or it means that you endorse it. But I don't think that that's the case. I don't think. I mean, in fact, it does. The Bible does talk about not having slaves, and again, Philemon, the book of Philemon, right?
Can I get a source?
I do like what you said earlier. We said that that's a man writing in the Bible. The
Yeah,
whole
pretty
Bible
relevant.
was written by the whole Bible was written by a lot of men,
Yeah.
right? But the basis,
Weird
and the
how that works.
backbone of being Christians, right, is the belief that Scripture is divinely inspired, and those books in Paul, right, or those books written by Paul would not be in the Bible if they were not significant to the faith,
So-
and that was not God's
So
will.
God definitely did talk to those people, but he doesn't do that anymore, right? Because pastors who say God talks to them, don't listen to them, they're crazy.
Right.
People 2,000 years ago who said God talked to them, those guys are the legit ones who definitely got talked to by God. Because it was 2,000 years ago.
So they should know what they're talking about.
Well, because but he talked back then.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Well, okay. So
Because,
Weird.
Because,
it's
you know.
actually
Because it was 2,000
it-
years ago.
yeah.
He talked about that.
The support to this is the last verse in Revelations.
Okay.
And I'd like to find it for you. And Sam
Should be
can
easy.
attest
It's
to
in the
this,
last
right?
Still waiting on
right?
a source on that,
Yeah, no,
that Philemon one.
I'm
Yes, if
literally
you
flipping
add to or
Um,
take away from any of these words in this book, then you
Yeah.
too will be added
Are we
to
counting-
plagues.
The Dead Sea Scrolls?
What about those books that the Catholics have? There's a
Now
couple
that,
of those.
now you're actively mocking.
I'm not. I'm seriously not. I want to
I
know
am.
if you guys believe. I know you are. I want to seriously know if you guys consider the Dead Sea Scrolls a part of the Bible and part of your doctrine.
Okay.
Like, seriously.
I think that this is maybe the first time I've ever or the only time I'm ever going to say this to you, Josh. But I think you know something here that I don't. Let me look up what the Dead Sea Scrolls are.
Do we also know
Because I don't
when
know
the
it. I've
Bible
never
was
heard-
compiled into its currently accepted form? Because I believe that was by Gregorian monks. So I don't know why they get a pass on altering the words in that book, but they did. I know for sure the Jews did not compile all of that together because they did that, and it's called the Torah. Doesn't have revelations in it. That part about not editing got added by a guy who edited it later. That seems weird. I don't know how you justify that.
This is where I say I don't know.
Yeah,
I can.
I know that.
Adam,
Well,
be
it's something that I
nice.
haven't studied.
Okay. Okay, that's fair. That is fair.
Like,
Yeah, no, this I mean,
You're bringing up
this
something that is
isn't
like,
that I'm studying yet either.
Well, I think these
Like,
things are important, though. I think knowing if the Dead Sea Scrolls is part of your doctrine is important. I think
Yeah,
that
I mean, I do now that I'm looking at the Dead Sea Scrolls, I do think that it's important, and I will do a lot of research on it.
Do you know what it says in the Dead Sea Scrolls? Or at least one little
no,
fun
dude,
fact
I don't-
tidbit. You know,
I-
it says that
I don't
Adam
know
had a
that.
second wife named Lilith who turned into a demon and like killed babies or something. Really fun
I've
stuff.
heard of that. I've heard of I've heard of that before, but only when I was doing research on like pagan and demons and stuff. But no one should ever do because that leads you down the wrong places. But actually, I with this standstill, I have to go do more research.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
Obviously, but I've also I
None of
wasn't
us have a
planning on
college
doing.
education.
I also wasn't planning on doing this tonight, and I have other things that I have to do.
For sure.
So I'm gonna hop, but actually, I feel like there's a another guy who wants to hop in. Sam, you think it's fine if I add him and then get out of here?
Can I leave you with one thing to chew on before you go?
Oh, of course, yeah, Adam. You can leave me with one thing to
Okay.
chew on, but first of all, Sam, is it cool if I add him and then I hop?
I think it would
And
be actually very entertaining. You guys
Yeah,
will
we
really
just-
not
we
like
just-
this person.
Great.
Okay.
But
We
do you
turn
think
this
that
into
you
a
would be?
revolving door?
It's not on me actually. It's more like you guys. Would you guys be interested in it? It's a wild
Yeah.
flower that is
Just
floating
it's
in the
basically what this is becoming now is that people are calling into the show and we get to talk to you.
I get that.
This is actually kind of a cool. Yeah.
I'm enjoying what's going on.
I'm fine with it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
That's
Until
it. Yeah,
the
so
next
Adam,
person
Adam,
comes on
what
and
was
then-
that you
Okay.
wanted to say?
I think it is probably a good idea to know morally a lot of the things in a book that you are advocating to become legislation. I think if you aren't well versed in all of the moral issues in that book, then I don't think it's a good idea to try to enforce that on a population as a whole. I think that sounds like a bad idea. That is it.
Yeah, what I would say to that though is that it's not about my understanding in the long run, and that it is about it's about God. I mean, it's the words God wrote in the book, and a lot of the times, I'm never gonna be able to understand every word in that book, and I mean I'm willing to admit that because it's just true. Right? I'm immortal. And I can't understand the things God can understand because He is omniscient, and omnipotent. And while that may be true, God's rules that He has in His books have been laid out to us as a way to live, and not only just a way to live, but a way to live and be happy, a way to live and be fruitful, a way to live and be purposeful, a way to live in and through Him, and to be granted eternal life in heaven. And I want as many people as possible to achieve those things. Now, that last thing there, that's only achievable if you want it to be. But happiness, purposefulness, those things can be achieved by anyone. I do believe that. I mean, I've seen a lot of happy people who aren't Christians, but it takes following these laws. What I generally see is people who don't follow these laws don't end up leading very happy lives. They have no value in their life, and their lives are depraved. Depravity leads you to bad places. But with that being said, Sam, I can't add him to the call. Can you go ahead? Do you think? Can you
Is it who I think it is?
try your best?
Yeah, I can.
First time I've
okay.
heard slavery be on the
He's not on
opposition
my-
of depravity.
I know.
Yeah.
Wild.
Interesting thoughts there.
Mm.
Food for thought.
Who are we
Okay, no, I think
to decide
he's
what is
added
good
me
and
now.
bad? Right?
Okay,
I'm
here we
go
go. I'm
home
gonna
and think
add him,
about
Sam.
how depraved I am for not liking slavery.
You're so mean, dude.
Let's wait for him. Here he is. All right. Hats off, boys.
Have a good one, man.
See you, dog.
Doing, hey, gentlemen.
Hi.
Hello.
Can we ask who's calling? We're on the Sam Daily
This
Show.
is Cito, aka Creature, aka the guy who cuts up some of the videos and makes the clips.
Thanks. Oh,
How's it
thanks for
going?
your service, Cito. Thanks for the
He
your
called
service
in
to
so
the
he
cause.
could finally clip something of him.
Exactly.
We
You
all
know,
want
that's
to
that's
hear
the
to
entire
get
reason
good
that I'm
end game.
here to be completely honest. You know, I needed to plug myself a little bit. No, I'm just kidding. All right.
Minecraft.
I'm more feeling that we're gonna be moving off of theology a little bit. How do y'all feel about that?
I'd love that.
All right, great. Anyway, let's get back down to the original point of this entire stream, which was abortion. How do y'all feel about that? Or do y'all want to
Sure.
get into?
Yeah.
No,
Some-
sure. Let's
All
go
right,
back
back
to
to
it. Let's get back on
Let's
track.
go back to it. Back on track. Granted, I kind of missed most of the theology debate. Anywho,
That's fine.
Yep. All right. So yeah, abortion. From what I've been able to glean from this wonderful exchange, you two are pro-abortion, and Sam is obviously anti-abortion.
Mm-hmm. Or pro for
right.
state birth. but
Pro-choice, I would say. I don't.
Pro-choice.
I'm not
Pro-choice.
pro-abortion.
Okay. fair enough.
Pro-choice.
I still think we should try to decrease the amount of total abortions in the world.
Right. Because
You want to increase the total
Decrease.
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 Go down.
Okay.
Down.
Okay. Well, at least we can. At least we're all agreed that it needs to decrease, though the certain amount might be where problems arise. Anywho, just out of curiosity, because granted I've been kind of distracted during the stream. I've been listening to it, but haven't been listening to it fully. So apologies if I ask y'all to reiterate.
Dude, that's like
Totally
everyone
fine.
else who's watching this stream, so don't worry about it.
Fair enough. I mean, I've been playing Doom Eternal.
Ooh,
Trying to do
good
Nightmare
game.
that's a good one.
difficulty.
I like that.
Oh, that game's awesome.
Very
If
good.
you haven't checked it out, check it out. Anywho, yeah. So, I guess we should start off with this. Why do you support abortion in its entirety? I guess you should say.
Because of the bodily autonomy of women.
Okay.
And even if you consider the unborn fetus a person, it still infringes on the rights of a woman. And so she should have the right to not have her body be subjugated to all the things this quote-unquote other person is doing to her.
Yeah, you stupid cisgender white male.
Yeah. Watch your privilege, please.
Okay. Yeah. So bodily autonomy of women.
Mhm.
Yours. All right. I'm blanking on your name, dude, with the Satan hat.
Adam. It's all
What
good.
was your
It's all
name
good.
again?
Adam, like in the Bible.
Adam.
The first man.
Oh,
Yeah.
ironic.
Joshua's
Little
a
All
bit,
right.
man
So,
too,
so
Just
are you
saying.
like essentially
I'm
on
in the same camp. Mm-hmm.
Okay. So
Yep.
you're in the same camp. All right. So we all can agree on the fact that there is to be a decrease in the amount of total abortions, right?
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay. So just speaking legislatively, where would you essentially draw the line at what first trimester, second trimester, third trimester?
Yeah, I don't really think that's my wheelhouse, if I'm being genuine with you. Like, I would want physicians to weigh in on that.
Yeah.
I don't think I know enough about how a fetus is formed for that specific, or for that to be my control, I guess. I
Okay.
wouldn't feel comfortable with that.
Well, but what, in your opinion, I mean, granted, we've all seen those bumper stickers and the billboards and the posters and stuff that show babies at different developmental stages
Yeah.
and whatnot. We got everything from the original division of cells, but whenever the sperm enters the egg, all the way up to the actual baby being born. When would you essentially, in that, let's just say month point period, anywhere between that sliding scale, where would you personally say that the termination, this is the hard line, this is the absolute limit, because at this point it becomes a human?
My privileged, uneducated idea here is like I stated before, if the removed child can survive outside of the womb without dependency upon the mother, then like the child lived, put it in foster care, give it to the mom or whatever. The child can't do that, well then job's done, abortion success.
So
Like, I don't think there's like, oh, here's the line. Like, I think it's like,
It's a case by case basis.
Yeah, it's a case by case basis. Sure.
Okay.
But again,
so, for
privileged
instance,
opinion, uneducated opinion, blah blah.
fair
blah,
enough.
blah,
Fair
blah.
enough. What about you, Adam? Are you roughly in the same camp, or?
I really don't have an opinion on this one. Like I said, I know I don't know this, and I would way rather a board of doctors, a conglomerate of people who do dedicate their entire lives to this, to decide on that. I think deferring to authority on issues like this is extremely important.
Okay.
As somebody who does one specific thing with their life and tries to be good at that, I hope people would give me the same, respect that I know what I'm talking about. Just like I would hope doctors can find some sort of agreement on that, hopefully.
But we can agree that doctors are definitely fallible, correct?
Sure, yeah.
All right. Well, couldn't it be possible too that in the matter of an abortion, for instance, they could say, well, it's 6 weeks, it might not be viable. However, there are endless cases of preemies. For instance, one of my really good friends growing up was a preemie at 6 months, and he was able to be kept alive and grow up, and he's doing his own thing now. But that would be roughly second trimester.
Sure.
However, there are also children who go through the entire line, or I guess you could say the entire nine months of gestation, come out and die to some disease or another. For instance, Harlequin babies is a really good example. So you
Or
think it
SIDS.
should be
Yeah.
or SIDS? Well, a lot of that is very difficult to kind of detect, especially whenever it's in the womb, especially whenever it comes to that sort of thing. Which I guess is why everybody kind of wants to draw a line, and I guess
Right.
that whole spiel is, where would you, if you were, forced to, gun to your head, pick a line, where would you put it?
I mean, I just wouldn't. I think that's my whole point. Like,
Adam
I
would rather be
don't
shot.
find it constructive to, like, as a lay person, try to come up with like legal standings on these things. Like, I don't know
you
what
have
this
an
helps. I
opinion
guess.
on it as a whole.
I don't. No, I mean, I have an opinion that women have autonomy to their bodies and we shouldn't infringe on that. But that's where my opinion stops on this.
But by saying that you're lay, which I mean, fair enough, most people are, that you don't essentially know when it's or that you can't essentially put a line down on when it's a life and when it's not a life.
Right.
Wouldn't that just be fully washing your hands of what could be a termination of a viable life outside of the mother, and not only washing your hands of it, but actively supporting it?
Well, I mean, I feel like we could attempt to keep them alive. Yeah, and if that's like the compromise that we need to come to for that risk to be mitigated, again, as a layperson, that would make sense to me. That we are attempting to keep these babies viable after they are removed from the womb. Sure, why not? Like, we could try to save that as a life, but at the same time, without infringing on the mother's rights. That's really my issue there. If you're saying we need to try to keep this as a viable life while infringing on the mother's rights because it could be viable, that's where then you lose me again.
What Adam said.
Okay, so sorry, let me try to figure out. I'm trying to wrap my head around that.
For sure.
So abortion is okay if once they take the baby out, it could be you're okay with keeping it alive if it is viable for, to be essentially alive, correct?
Yeah, absolutely. Like, if abortion became the concept at a certain point where instead of killing the tissue and removing it, that tissue is removed and then kept alive, yeah, I don't see what the problem with that is.
Can I just ask you one question? And
yeah.
Sorry. Do you know how an abortion is performed specifically with a baby around, past the 5-month period?
No, not to that specific, no.
Okay, so past a 5-month period, you cannot actually remove the baby without killing it. that essentially is kind of one of the huge points for a lot of people. Yeah, sorry, I have a little bit of a stutter.
Oh, you're fine.
For people, but and I feel like it's a point that's kind of lost on a lot of folks, where you are not able to fully remove a baby 5 months over without fully dismembering it while it's still inside of the mother and pulling each piece out individually. And I feel like that's where a lot of people are very much anti-abortion after, the second trimester, or even after the second trimester, because it is impossible to remove the child without, and to put it in graphic terms, rip off its leg, crush it.
Okay,
its body,
hold on. I'm gonna have to ask how that's a thing when C-sections are a thing.
So but it doesn't need to be.
So
we can take that as the best or the worst case scenario in this situation.
That's
right?
not the worst case scenario, though. That's not the worst case scenario. That is the commonly practiced procedure for aborting a child, or a baby, or a fetus, however you want to phrase it. But that is the common practice, and the reason why is because if you were to perform a C-section on a woman who has not fully gone through the full 9 months, or even 8 months, or even 7 months, is you would irreparably damage their lower abdomen, considering the only reason that C-sections are fully possible is because the lining between the uterus and the stomach, and the fat layer as well, has become so thin, and the organs have actually physically moved up in order to create a space.
Gotcha.
That is the only reason that C-sections are possible. And also with the fact that most abortions are, and I say most mainly because I'm essentially hedging myself, there might be a few outliers here and there, but an overwhelming majority of abortions are essentially inpatient surgery. They're done in a day.
Yeah.
And C-sections would be completely inviable at that time, considering the fact that you would have to go past the small intestines of the woman, which would be extremely dangerous. And speaking of the safety of women, abortions in and of themselves are extremely dangerous procedures, because
it can be.
But so can pregnancy.
Can be.
Or giving birth.
So can pregnancy. However,
Definitely.
the rate of infertility after an abortion, as well as the tearing in the vaginal wall, which can cause infection, which can then lead to sterilization, as well as the whole mental side of it as well, because there are hormonal shifts whenever pregnancy hormones get into a woman, as well as activating certain parts that are just intrinsic to human nature of protection. I'm granted that's not everybody. But it is a sort of thing that has caused a huge number of women post-abortion to have severe depression, let alone the physical and sterility as well. Not to mention the fact that birth defects after. So if a woman decides to go in and get an abortion, 5 years later decides that she's ready to actually have kids, the chances of birth defects, as well as many other issues with a pregnancy or even a failed pregnancy after that, increase drastically as well.
For sure. So all of these things so far are risks, right? They are probabilities, higher probabilities of things going wrong in these scenarios, or non-ideal outcomes to all of these things.
Yes. Well, these are all of the risks.
And I even agree with you. And I do agree with you. But I think where I stop agreeing with you is that is a reason to outlaw this.
Yeah,
that was
fair
enough.
Make the same kind of point.
Because I would want all of those things to not happen too.
No. Yes.
So I agree with you and disagree.
I was, you said that you're a lay person. I've done my research on this a good bit. So I was just explaining to you.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah. But getting back to the original point about why I believe that abortion should be illegal, is because a vast majority, over 99% or 90%, 98% of abortions are not due to some catastrophic event in the woman's life. For instance, it's not incest or rape or even incestual rape. It is a voluntary procedure.
Correct.
And we can get into the entire philosophical and religious idea of, is it a baby at birth? Is it not? Biologically speaking, life begins at conception, biologically speaking, because as soon as a sperm reaches the mother's egg, it ceases to become a part of the mother. It has its own DNA. It has its own entire genetic makeup, separate from the mother and separate from the father too, which I feel like is
a third of them die.
That's
a third
actually
of
you
them-
pulled up. I don't know if you did it on purpose, but that actually is a really solid point. Is that you keep saying that it's up to the mother. It's up to the mother, right? It's up to the one who is carrying the child. But what about the father?
What about the father?
Does he not have any say in this?
Say in what aspect of this?
And if the mother gets an abortion, or not.
in the abortion. I mean, I don't think that that's necessarily the point that we're at right now. I mean, that's definitely a good topic to touch on later down the road, you know, if once we find some. You know,
I guess
I'm
just as a quick, like,
Yeah, no,
does he have any role in that decision at all?
In the decision of
personally,
her having
personally,
an
I
abortion.
think that he
He
personally,
does have.
I think that he should.
He has something.
Personally, I think that he should.
Okay. What about you, Adam?
yeah.
I don't think he should have a say in the yes or no of an abortion. No.
I agree.
Because I still think that is then him overriding the woman's rights to govern her own body.
Interesting.
I do, however, maybe have a hotter take that you might not expect, that I don't think that man should have to pay child support if she does go through with the abortion. Or
I agree with
does
that.
not go through with the abortion. I don't think he
I
owes
agree
her
with
that
that
money.
entirely.
For
I
You're
I
being
agree with
logically
that
consistent.
entirely.
We appreciate that.
Gotcha.
I'm with you on that.
Cool.
I don't
Yeah,
know how I feel about
anyway.
that yet, but I'll probably agree with Adam later.
Yeah, I mean, we all know the stories of poke tools and condoms, but I know
Yeah,
a
we
guy,
got one in the
but-
studio right here.
What?
Oh, whew, boy.
Wow.
I don't get.
Oh,
It's
boy,
a
man,
dig
I
on me because I don't get it.
You know,
That was-
your point, your position, you know, starting to culminate and making still a little bit more sense. I'm just playing with you, but anyway, getting back to the actual meat of the question, I should say. I feel like that, you know, in order to, because I'm really here just to find some common ground where we can agree, because I am anti-abortion in its entirety, and I know that y'all are pro-abortion. However, I feel like
Socialist.
that, you know, instead of just sitting here yelling at one another, or not yelling, but talking at one another, essentially saying you're wrong, you're wrong, you're wrong, I feel like that if we can find some common ground here, we'll be able to open up a little bit more of a dialogue.
Sure, yeah.
Can I just point out how that has not been anything like that? Like,
What do
at
you
least
mean?
there's one hoorah that we could all like, and it's like,
At the overreach of government.
Yeah,
Or
I agree
the
with the
fact that-
anarchist on that. Hell yeah.
With the fact that the government can trade stocks and also make laws about stocks.
Yeah,
No,
that's
that's insane. I think we all agree on that too, right?
Mhm.
That government
Yeah,
officials, who
definitely.
can
Congressmen
control-
should give up
yeah,
their
a billion-
holdings.
100%.
Yeah.
but Cito, I think that we got to come to a close here
Yeah,
because it's pretty
we
late.
have like already gone way over the 1 hour mark.
But-
by a
Yeah,
lot.
no.
But I think that we're finding some kind of system here as far as
Yeah.
what the Thursday show would look like, and I'm super excited about that.
I hope
I'm
you're
yeah,
excited. I'm
no,
excited.
Super
I'm-
excited that Cito, you got to join in.
Yes.
Con got to
Yeah.
jump in. Adam, you're here.
Thank you for having me.
Josh,
Yeah, you know, the guy who's been here since the beginning. I'm here.
Josh is here. Adam brought lovely friend.
My girlfriend's
his
here.
girlfriend.
Ooh,
And-
you brought a lady friend.
Yeah,
All
you're not
right.
allowed to talk to her or interact with her at all.
She's not on.
That is completely fair. Fair enough.
So,
Colors.
so with that said, let me go ahead and close this out. Yeah.
Yeah, definitely. I'd love
Thank
to.
you,
I'd love to
everyone, for
join
being
again.
here.
Yeah.
Next debate that we have.
Yeah.
CTM Creatures, check him out on YouTube. That's
Yeah,
We're
I
speaking right
I
now.
make funny.
you get
gaming-
you
I
get
make
2
fun
seconds,
gaming
20
content.
seconds to plug yourself.
All right, shit, fuck. All right, I make funny gaming content, and it's nothing like this. I literally just I just got done streaming Dead Space. I'm gonna be streaming Mass Effect later on, because I'm playing through a whole bunch of old early
Twitch handle. We need a
2000s
Twitch
games that I
handle.
never. I don't have Twitch. Shit. No, but I'm essentially right now. I stream every Wednesday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. Wait, yeah. And I'm playing through a whole bunch of classic early 2000s, late 2000s, 2010 games that I never got to play growing up. And I just got done playing Dead Space 1, and I will say very, very, very good game. I need to change my drawers at
one.
least 3 times.
Definitely.
So that's CTM_creatures.
No, I got rid of the underscore. It is just CTM Creature on YouTube. Subscribe to me, watch my shit, give me money.
And he promised he won't talk politics.
No,
I don't
probably,
talk
Oh,
politics.
he doesn't.
I don't talk politics. I don't do politics. I just occasionally I'll talk shit about certain companies. I mean, I'm pretty sure Josh can agree with the fact that the Microsoft monopoly is an absolute terrifying thing, especially with the
you're not going to
gaming
exclude
industry.
any leftists by
Definitely.
talking about that. So
Yeah,
Break the monopoly.
but I just make I make funny videos and I stream. That's pretty much what I do.
like every other white guy on the internet.
Like
Sorry.
every other white guy on the planet, you're extremely correct. The difference is I'm actually somewhat funny.
Okay,
Like
so that's
every
Cedo,
other white
CTM Creature. Check him out on YouTube. Adam, do you have a plug that you want?
Nope.
You got a Twitter?
Not at all.
A Facebook?
No.
You don't want anybody to find you.
He's just a man of the
I just don't do it.
streets.
I don't do anything.
He's not a social media guy.
Okay,
Not a
Josh, did you
social
make a
guy.
Twitter like I told you to?
Yes, I found my old Twitter account and whatever, and so it's there. I think it's like at Joshua Waugh or at Lefork, Lefork, or at. That's probably one of those two. You can
Okay.
find
We
it.
ought
you
to
should
just put it
change-
in the-
You should change it to @Fork Daddy.
Or Leather Daddy or
funny.
Anarcho Leather
Leather
Daddy.
No, just
Daddy,
Anarcho
Leather
Jack.
Daddy.
Josh. I
Ah,
was gonna say Anarcho.
Nah.
I was gonna say
nah,
Anarcho
Leather
Jackass,
Daddy
but-
sounds so much better.
I've gone way
Let-
too hard on you tonight.
no, that's funny.
We don't want you
And
to cry.
honestly, I'm a big boy. I don't think you've gone that hard. So I think we've had actually like really good,
Yeah.
like productive-esque maybe conversation. Maybe we've changed some minds. Maybe the right has changed some minds. Maybe the left has changed
Do you want to
some
close this out and let them know? You've
What?
been watching the videos long enough that the ones that we do Monday through Wednesday. You
Oh
want to close
yeah,
this out?
we're streaming every Monday through Wednesday. Just Sam Daly and his idiot friend Aaron, where they talk all right-wing echo chamber nonsense. And then on Thursdays, I'm here, and that's when you should, really tune in. This broadcast was brought to you by Let's Mow Brandon, which is ridiculous. And
Jeez.
I'm only saying that because I have to, not because I endorse
Be sure
the
to look us
company.
up on
You're
Facebook.com/Let's
contractually obligated. Got it,
Mow Brandon.
I understand.
Again, that's
And
Facebook.com.
after
Cedo,
Wednesday's
Facebook.com/Let's Go Brandon. And if you want to have the best looking lawn in the neighborhood, you got to call on me.
Okay.
Because that's entirely what's funding all of this operation
Okay.
here.
Okay,
So-
excuse me. If you're going to do my voice, I'm going to request that you at least try and do it accurately. That is Let's Mow Brandon on YouTube and Facebook. Shit, all right, I already messed up.
Okay, thank you, Adam, for coming in here.
You're welcome. Thanks for having me.
Thank you, Cedo. Thank you, Kong. Thank you,
Anytime.
Oh my
Anarcho
god!
Josh.
No, just end it. End the stream.
and thank you for watching. We really appreciate it. Be sure to subscribe. Smash that. What should they do to the like button?
Assault it consensually.
Molest it.
Shoot up meth in the comments down below. Sorry.
Yes.
No.
Leave comments if you have any questions for Anarcho Josh or me, or I don't know if you enjoyed it. That's what helps out the show. Is that if you comment, then it pushes us up.
Yeah.
the
So if you
algorithm and
didn't
more people
enjoy
get
it,
to see
shut
it.
your mouth.
Yeah. No, if you didn't enjoy it, go ahead, smash that dislike button. It's the same thing as the like button because Facebook and YouTube and all these social media companies, they actually incentivize creators to get hate. So
That's why we're here.
yes. So if
Hitting
you
the dislike button as if it matters anymore.
thank you and signing out. Goodbye.
Goodbye.